Prologue. The Sandaime Hokage walked swiftly across the debris strewn around in the forest surrounding Konoha. He quickly reached the spot he was looking for, where he found the bodies of all the medic ninjas as well as ANBU lying around. He found the body of the successor to his position, Minato Namikaze, lying alongside Kushina Uzumaki, the former Jinchuriki of Konoha and Minato's wife. Between them lay the baby boy that he was looking for, wrapped in a white cloth and soundly asleep. He signaled the ANBU to pick up all the bodies of the ninjas and take them to the morgue before picking up the sleeping baby and folding the cloth around him even more tightly so that the newborn did not catch a cold. He quickly noticed the seal in the sleeping infant's belly and sighed, realizing what had truly occurred in the fight. Minato had sealed the fox into Naruto and sacrificed both and his wife's life and condemned his son's life for the sake of the Konoha. Hiruzen Sarutobi quickly made the ANBU that accompanied him to an oath of secrecy about the boy and what had truly happened in the forest. The truth was that the Kyuubi was killed by the Yondaime Hokage, who gave his life for the sake of his village and died a true shinobi's death. Kushina and the expected legacy of Minato did not survive as the enemy attacked Kushina while she was in labor, killing the woman and the child. He could not give the child to the village, as he quickly realized what the child's life would be if his identity was given to the council. The council will tear the boy apart before he had a chance at life. Not only was this boy the container of the Kyuubi, he was also the legacy of this village's greatest hero. Many in the council would give anything to get their hands around the boy, while others would want to kill this boy instantly, seeing him as the Kyuubi itself and not its jailer. Hiruzen Sushin to his former office and had one of the female ANBU get the things that the boy would need immediately. "What happened to Minato? Where is Kushina?" shouted Jiraiya as he walked into the office of the Hokage. He looked at his sensei's face and realized that what he heard about his dear student was true. "Is Minato really dead?" he asked softly to Hiruzen Sarutobi. "Yes, and so is his wife Kushina," replied the Hokage in a somber tone. As he looked out to Konoha from the office's window, he turned back to Jiraiya and looked at him in the eye. "What do you think we should do now?" "Please, Jiraiya, for the sake of the village that Minato sacrificed his life for, pull yourself together. We have a grave problem at our hands." "Problem? This is a problem to you? Minato is dead. He is gone, and all you can is that we have a problem? What in Kami's name is wrong with you?" said Jiraiya angrily as he glared at his sensei. "Not only that, but his wife Kushina as well as Naruto are both dead. And you are say dash." Jiraiya stopped as Sarutobi held his hand out. "Naruto is not dead. In fact, he is in this very room, and that is why we have a problem." For the first time, Jiraiya noticed the bundle of white cloth in the cradle and saw the infant sleeping soundly. A little smile formed in his face as he looked closely at the boy and noticed the shock of blonde hair on his head. "He looks just like Minato." Jiraiya turned back to the Hokage. "What is the problem?" "Take a look at the seal on the boy's stomach. Tell me I am wrong in deciphering it," Hiruzen said in almost a pleading tone. Jiraiya removed the cloth and looked at the seal as both his eyes got wider. What was he thinking doing this to his own son? This is the same seal that Kushina had. Naruto is the new Jinchuriki? What are we going to do? This boy's life was snatched away before it even began, rambled Jiraiya in a panicky voice. "Calm down," ordered the Hokage, and Jiraiya took a deep breath before looking back at his sensei. "What are we going to do, sensei?" he asked. "I just cannot allow you to hand him over to the council. You know full well what they will do to him. They will either want him executed or they will hand him over to Danzo, and Danzo will rob the boy of everything that he is capable of becoming. I have already figured that out. That is why the boy does not exist. This is an S-ranked secret between the people in this room. As far as Konoha is concerned, the fox is dead. Minato's boy also died with Kushina. He will grow outside of the village until he is old enough to defend himself. Is that perfectly clear to you?" the Hokage said in an even and orderly voice of a military general. Jiraiya nodded, only partly understanding what his sensei meant. "Where will the boy go? Who will take care of him, and who will teach him in the arts of the shinobi?" asked Jiraiya, when suddenly there was a thunderous crash. An ANBU member flew into the room through the broken door of the office. Neither Jiraiya nor Sarutobi needed to turn around to know that Tsunade had just walked into the office. "Was that really necessary, Haim?" asked Jiraiya as he looked at the knocked-out NBU member. "He was not letting me in because he said that the Hokage was in a private meeting," said Tsunade matter-of-factly. She then turned towards the Sandaime Hokage and asked the same thing that Jiraiya had asked. "I came as soon as heard what happened? We don't know anything, not how the Kyuubi escaped Kushina, or who attacked the ANBU and the ninjas at the safeguard. All we know is that it is now sealed in Naruto and he has to be moved out of the village ASAP," said Sarutobi, turning back to his former students. "Where will he go? This is his village, and for at least Minato's sake shouldn't the village take care of his legacy? Naruto has his own house and there are many that will gladly take him in as their own knowing his heritage, so why the fuss?" asked Tsunade in a surprised voice. "It is not as simple as that, Haim. The council will tear him apart. Not only is he the son of Minato Namikaze, he is the last surviving member of the Uzumaki and the Namikaze clan, and he has the Kyuubi sealed in him. I shudder to think what this kid will become when he reached his full potential as a shinobi. You know how harsh the council was on Kushina. They wanted to seal her memories and make her a mindless drone of Danzo. This time they will not stop even if Sarutobi-sensei tried," said Jiraiya as he looked at Naruto, who had just woken up and was looking at Jiraiya curiously with bright blue eyes. "Yes, this must remain a secret just between us. I am ordering this as not only your Hokage but also as your sensei, that this is an S-ranked secret that this boy is Minato's son. I am ordering Jiraiya to take this boy and train him. Bring him back if and only if he is ready. This boy has potential and I want him to be trained by the finest. Jiraiya, I am handing this task to you because Minato named you his godfather at birth. As his godfather, it's your responsibility to look after him and also train him. You will leave the village right now, and if anyone ever asks you the boy's identity, you found him in a war zone and took him in as your apprentice. I trust the sages of Mount Myoboken, though I suspect they will know his lineage even if you kept it from them. Take him there and train him under their tutelage. I know that you cannot always be with him as your duties towards Konoha, but right now your first priority is Naruto. They will train Naruto well, just like they trained you in Minato, and Mount Myoboku is probably the safest place for Naruto to be at the moment because foreign countries will look to assassinate Naruto if they knew whose son he was. I can only trust you with this because I know you will not fail me even if your life depended on it, and take care of Naruto. After all, he is my godson's child." Hiruzen Sarutobi picked Naruto up and handed him to Jiraiya, who could only stare at his sensei in disbelief. When Jiraiya was under Hiruzen Sarutobi's tutelage, he was never trusted with important things. It was always either Orochimaru or Tsunade, as they were a lot more competent than he was. Yet right now his sensei was trusting him with something so valuable when he could have just given the responsibility to Tsunade, who was looking at Jiraiya with a smirk on her face. "What is so funny, Haim?" asked Jiraiya in a confused voice. "I can tell what you are thinking just by looking at your face. You forget that when we were young, you were clumsy and unsuited to be a ninja, but you left us behind through your hard work and determination to show everyone that you were more than capable of being a shinobi. As we grew older, you left me and Orochimaru far behind, not only in skill and knowledge but also in strength of heart and mind. Even though you are a pervert and nuisance at times, your commitment to this village and to your friends have never faltered. Heck, you still believe that you can turn Orochimaru from the path he took so long ago. Oh, and from pervert, it reminded me that if you turn Naruto into a pervert like you, I will personally take up the crusade of killing you. Is that clear?" shouted Tsunade as she glared at Jiraiya. The glare made Jiraiya shudder and promise profusely that he will keep that in his mind. "Now go. There are only a few moments left before sunrise. I want you to be out of this village before the sun's first rays fall on Konoha, and remember that this is a secret only among us. Farewell, my student. I will see you and young Naruto as a man," ordered the Sandaime Hokage to Jiraiya, who in turn nodded to his sensei and his former teammate before leaping out of the window. "Do you think I took the right decision in sending the boy with Jiraiya?" asked Sarutobi, turning to look at his other pupil. "Yes, not only will Jiraiya treat him like his own grandson, Jiraiya will also make sure that he has the same morals and principles that Minato had. Secondly, Jiraiya is the most capable shinobi in this village, who can train Naruto. Thirdly, This responsibility would have been too much for me to handle, and gambling and drinking seem to have negative impacts on kids these days," said Tsunade before leaping out of the window as well. Sarutobi's sweat dropped at her response before his face turned sour as he turned towards the still unconscious Anbiyu on the floor. 15 years later. "Damn paperwork," thought Tsunade as she pulled another document towards herself from the mountain of papers sitting on her desk. It has been exactly 2 years since the death of her sensei and the Sandaime Hokage of the village by none other than his own student Orochimaru. Not only that, but this also had to be the day that Sakura took a leave because she mourned this day for that damn Sasuke Uchiha. It wasn't helping that the rebuilding of Konoha was still not complete from the attack 2 years ago. Now the village was in debt, and the fire daimyo was blaming it on Konoha's incompetence that he had to pay the other villages because of this disaster. Tsunade gave a loud sigh before leaning back and pulling out a bottle of sake and a cup. Thoughts of another blonde came to her mind. He must be old enough to be a Chunin now, but Minato was a Tokubetsu Jounin at the age of 13 and was on his way to learning senjutsu from the sages in Mount Meiboku. She also remembered when Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru were young, and how Jiraiya constantly complained about how hard senjutsu training was, and that why was he the only one that sensei chose to go through with it. Only years later did they realize that senjutsu's training worked only for those that kept on trying until they got the desired results, because it was based on trial and error methods until the chakra system found the right amount of mixing to allow a person to take on sage mode. Most people did not find the exact right mixing and ended up being like Jiraiya, who morphed a little bit himself when going into sage mode. The same went for Minato. His chakra reserves were too vast to find the exact mixing either. As far as Tsunade knew, nobody other than the Toad sages of Mount Meiboku was able to find the exact mixing in the chakra composition. It was also rumored that with the exact composition, sage mode would be much more powerful than the partial mode that Jiraiya or Minato could acquire. A full sage's prowess would be 3 to 4 times more powerful. Then again, nobody had done it other than the fabled sage of the 6 paths, who was a master at just about every form of shinobi arts there were. Where is the old pervert anyway? I need to know what information he gathered on Orochi team and this new Akatsuki group that were after all the tailed beasts and had already captured 2 Jinchurikis from different hidden villages. They are definitely composed of strong shinobis if they are able to just overpower Jinchurikis that have full control of their tailed beasts. Tsunade's trend of thoughts continued as she took another sip of sake. Bah! Why in the world did I agree to take this job? It sucks. Life was so much better when I could just gamble and drink all the time. No paperwork and no council trash to deal with. My luck really does suck sometimes. She groaned as she finished the rest of the sake in one gulp and poured herself another cup. The door to her office opened and a very red-faced Shizen poked her face in and said, "Jiraiya-sama is here to meet you. Says he has 2 very important missions to turn in." Tsunade motioned for her to send him in and sighed very exasperatedly. Why does that old pervert have to flirt with girls that are a third his age? He should get the clue when he gets slapped around like that. Tsunade Heim. How is it going? Gosh, I haven't seen that lovely face in months, said Jiraiya in his usual happy-go-lucky manner as he grabbed a chair and sat down, looking the cleavage of her breasts. Tsunade thwacked him on his head with a chakra-enhanced fist so that he would look at her face, not her body. "What do you want?" she said, glaring at him as she pulled her robes closer to cover herself from the pervert's gaze. Who knew what tales he was spinning in his head for the next installment of his famous Ika Paradise series? "Why do you always take it the wrong way, Heim?" asked Jiraiya with a hurt expression on his face as he rubbed his head where Tsunade hit him. Tsunade sighed before asking, "I am really hoping you found something important from your spying network. Orochi team and this Akatsuki's growing threat is getting on my old nerves. I am getting very bad vibes from this new enemy. What do you have on them?" Jiraiya's face turned serious instantly as he picked up the huge scroll he always wears on his back and laid it out on her desk. "Well, Akatsuki is indeed comprised of extremely powerful and dangerous shinobis. This time my research was extensive and thorough. All the members of the Akatsuki are comprised of SS-ranked criminals who have the highest bounties on their heads. All of them except one person, their leader Pain. He is apparently not from any hidden village because he has no bounty on his head. There is one thing that even makes me weary of him." Jiraiya looked up from his scroll to Tsunade's questioning face. He beat Hanzo single-handedly, took his palace, and made it into the headquarters for all Akatsuki operations. He is that strong? Asked Tsunade, her eyes wide. Even they weren't able to take Hanzo down together, the three Sannin of the Leaf. Jiraiya nodded. What other information do you have? There is also a Leaf shinobi in the Akatsuki, a ninja who has a very, very high bounty on his head. Jiraiya's explicit explanation told her that she should have guessed who it was, but she could not name anyone that she thought was from Konoha. Who is it? Be clear with me, ordered the Godame Hokage. Jiraiya took a deep breath and said, Itachi Uchiha. Damn. Another Uchiha that betrayed the village. I am done with that damned clan. Tsunade fumed with anger as she heard that the only other living Uchiha has also turned against his own village. Calm down, Haim. There is more. My spy network is working more efficiently now. They have also figured out that Pain is not the true brains behind the Akatsuki operations. He is just a leader figure. The actual brain behind the operation is someone else. Someone even stronger than Pain. My network is still working on the identity of this person, but he had eluded all efforts of us uncovering his identity with masterful art and deception. Even stronger than Pain? How strong is this ninja? Asked Tsunade, awe and concern evident in her voice. If my guess is correct, he is probably on par with the Shodame Hokage, Hashirama Senju. Jiraiya stood up as he headed to the window so he could look out the window towards the rest of Konoha. This foreshadows bad news, Haim, and there are troubling times up ahead for Konoha. You are their leader, therefore I think you should start preparing right now. Yes, I wish they were here. They are far more capable to be the leader of Konoha than I am. Tsunade said somberly as she looked at the portraits of the Sandame and the Yondame Hokages. Do not mourn, Haim. There is still hope, and that is what my second mission submission is for, said Jiraiya, and there was something unreadable in his voice as he looked at the Hokage mountain. Does it relate to Akatsuki or Orochi team in any way? If it doesn't, then leave the report on my table and go. I have a lot of work pending that needs to be done by the end of this week, and I am well behind by more than a week. Tsunade went back behind her desk and sat down. I cannot have a formal report written down for this assignment. You already know that, Jiraiya said as he turned towards her with a small smile on his face. Tsunade recognized that smile really well, as this was not the lecherous smile that Jiraiya had on when he had perverted thoughts. This smile was the smile of a shinobi who was looking forward to good things happening in the future. This was Jiraiya thinking that there was still hope, that not all is yet lost even though it looks bleak and dark. What do you need to tell me? Tsunade asked in a very serious voice. She had a frown on her face that said that if the matter is important, you better tell me fast. The will of fire lives on, Tsunade. Have faith in the new generation that is growing in Konoha. Today, as I was walking through Konoha, I felt the chakra signatures of all the young shinobis of Konoha, and they are not to be underestimated. Their will of fire is stronger than all the generations that came before. This generation has produced quite a group. All of them talented and dedicated to the Konoha, and all of them ready to lay down their lives without hesitation for the village if necessary, except for obvious few exceptions. Jiraiya said, laughing inwardly as he saw a tick appear on Tsunade's forehead. Damn it, Jiraiya. That's a nice speech, but it is not getting us anywhere. Just tell me what you need to and leave, shouted Tsunade angrily and glared at the pervert for taking her time unnecessarily. Okay. Jiraiya raised his hands before Tsunade decided to do something too drastic. My second mission is that Naruto is finally able to defend himself, so I am returning him to Konoha as is his birthright. Tsunade's eyes widened at this announcement. She had not seen Naruto in 2 years. The only time she had seen him in her life was when Jiraiya and Naruto had gone to retrieve her and make her the Godame Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. And even in that small period she had taken a liking to that boy's spirit and even given him her necklace as a sign that she trusted him as much as she trusted Nawaki and Dan. So what is the Gaki like? I probably can't call him a Gaki anymore, can I? Asked Tsunade with a genuine smile on her face as she remembered the Naruto that had taken her bet and had mastered Rasengan in a week. Yes, calling him a Gaki will be a misnomer as he has grown quite a bit since you saw him last. His skill and strength as a shinobi has also grown in unimaginable proportions. The boy was truly meant to be a shinobi and is becoming more and more like his old man every day. Jiraiya said, pride evident in his expression and voice. Yes, tell me about him. Even though I have met him, I know nothing about his skill as a shinobi. In fact, the time he fought Kabuto, he only used Rasengan to beat him. He did not show any of his other skills. Tsunade asked with much interest as to see how Minato's legacy has grown up. Jiraiya put his index finger to his chin and thought for a few minutes before turning back to the window. Since he is of the Uzumaki clan, his body has an affinity towards Tai Jutsu. I trained him with weights since he was 4, but then I had the sages of Mount Mayuboku train in the arts, the frog katas, but he quickly mastered them. So I had him trained in some other forms until I met up with Might Guy. He gave me more than a few scrolls on taijutsus and their many forms. He also gave 2 of his most priceless fighting styles, to fight a man looking at his body but not his eyes. This form of taijutsu is very effective against any ninjas with ocular jutsus or 2 of Konoha's most powerful clans. Yet, and here's the kick, he being also from the Namikaze clan gave his body an affinity towards ninjutsus as well. His ability to understand the workings of a jutsu is phenomenal, and with his training method, he can master just about any jutsus in a matter of days, and the level he masters senjutsu is unbelievable. In addition to that, the Kyuubi also gives him a lot of advantages. His ability to heal is extraordinary. He can heal his wounds in hours that would take a regular man days, if not weeks. His stamina is incredible, and his natural chakra reserves are about twice the size of Minato's. Another important aspect is that even though Naruto might look like he is a simple-minded guy, it would be a grave error to underestimate his skills as a strategist, as he can come up with complex analytical tactics on the spur of the moment. He developed this ability from a young age as he studied under the sages of Mount Mayuboku. He also has the Toad Summons contract and has become quite close with Gamakichi, Gamabunta's firstborn son and probably the heir to his position. He also became a subordinate of Gamabunta, and for some reason Gamabunta shows him even more respect than he gives me. Tsunade smirked at that. Anyway, Naruto is not a genjutsu type. He is in fact quite bad at them, and training his mind is exceptionally hard for him because of the Kyuubi. But I have personally given him extensive training in how to break even the toughest of genjutsus, and he has become quite good at recognizing them and breaking out of them. I would even go as far as to say any genjutsu user will be at a disadvantage against Naruto, because once he breaks the genjutsu, he will flat out overpower his opponent and take him down. In a nutshell, Naruto is a power hitter. He takes his opponents and simply annihilates them. But he is also a genius, as when required he has shown excellence in strategy and analytical understanding of any battle situation. Heck, he even completed his father's 2 most prized techniques, something even the Yondaime could not do himself. Jiraiya turned back towards Tsunade, only to see that her eyes were just about ready to pop out of their sockets. How strong is he? Oh, and did you say he mastered senjutsu? Stammered out Tsunade. This description sounded more like a Kage-level ninja than a Chunin to her. Either Jiraiya is elaborating a little too much because nobody should be as strong as this at the age of 15, or she had seriously underestimated Naruto's potential. Jiraiya again thought for a few seconds before looking back at the Hokage mountain. Yeah, he is a legend in Mayuboku. He is the only person in the last century to mix his chakra with nature chakra in perfect proportion, no morphing at all when he goes into sage mode. If I have to give him a rank based on the ninja ranking system, he can easily make the Kage level. In a straight-out fight, he can go toe-to-toe against me unless we go into sage mode. In sage mode, I stand no chance against him. At the age of 8, he was already at the level of a high Chunin. Plus his experience in the number of missions he has completed outranks any of Konoha's Chunin and a few of the Jounins. His assassination and espionage skills are on par with Kakashi's when he was the ANBU squad captain, and that was 4 years ago. He has got the guts to even threaten the Kyuubi. Right now, Naruto can control up to 6 tails of the Kyuubi's chakra while remaining in full control of his emotions and his body. Not only that, but Naruto's ability to learn jutsu surprised even me. The guy can take any A rank to S rank jutsu and master it in less than a week. His mastery of seals is on par with me, if not better, and his mastery over futon and suiton techniques are also top class. He took the whole library in Mount Mayuboku of futon and suiton related techniques and just memorized and mastered them in about 2 years. Tsunade sweat dropped at that. However, his greatest achievements are completing his father's techniques. He was able to channel Futon Chakra into the Rasengan and came out with SS rank Jutsu, the Rasen Shuriken. This technique is so fierce that it damages the user's hand. Eventually Naruto learned to throw it so he can use it safely, but this jutsu is a one-hit kill. It attacks the opponent in the cellular level and decimates them. Not much of the opponent is left when the jutsu is done. He has increased the control over Hiraishin considerably. Where Minato used partner seals, one on his kunai, and the other he had on himself, Naruto has modified it so that the partner seals are not necessary. He just has one seal on himself that takes him to exactly where he was looking or of what place he is thinking of as he activates Hiraishin. There is no more need for the kunais. I took quite a bit of lecturing from me to stop Naruto from popping himself here and taking a look at the village, since he has made it his dream to become the Hokage of Konoha. In other words, Naruto is probably the strongest ninja in Konoha right now. I believe that this mission was a complete success. Don't you? Tsunade blinked but kept staring at Jiraiya for a full minute before Jiraiya coughed loudly to rouse her from her chain of thoughts. When Sarutobi-sensei said, "Bring him when he can defend himself," I don't think he meant it on this level. It does not make my life any easier that you have just brought a ninja with no history who can probably wipe the floor with me if he wanted. Jiraiya smirked at that. So, does he know about his heritage? No, all he knows is that he is from Konoha and that I found him after the fourth Hokage sealed the bijou in him and took him out of the village to give special training. When he was younger, he once asked me about his parents but did not ask after I told him that he will know everything in due time. Jiraiya was looking at the fourth's picture. Personally, I think we should wait a couple more years before letting him know. But you are the Hokage. I leave this up to you. Yes, on this matter I agree. So where is he anyway? Asked Tsunade, looking towards the door to her office. Oh, just checking out the village right now. I gave him 2 hours free time. He will report here in about half an hour later. Jiraiya then looked at Tsunade. It will also give me some time to discuss Konoha's standings with the other hidden villages of the shinobi nations. With Naruto. As soon as Jiraiya walked off towards the Hokage Tower, Naruto took to the rooftops. He was finally in the village where he was born. Jiraiya had told him a lot about the village, but being there firsthand was something totally different. He had scoured the library in Mount Myoboku clean by reading every book he found on Konoha, starting from the history, all the way to the current fire daimyo's son's name. He knew every jutsu that was invented by the ninjas of Konoha. He knew everything there was to know about the clans of Konoha and all the bloodline limits. Unbeknownst to Jiraiya, he had even taken special training from Pafukasaku and Mashima and learned how to counter all the bloodline limits in Konoha. As he jumped onto another rooftop, he saw a very beautiful pink-haired teen sitting forlornly on a bench in the garden area of the Ninja Academy. There was also a blonde girl of similar age, sitting next to her, and she seemed to be giving her some sort of lecture. They both looked like they were his age, so he jumped down and slowly made his way towards them. As neared them, he heard the blonde girl speaking. Been 2 years now, Sakura, you should figure it out that he is not coming back anymore. The blonde girl said sympathetically. Today all the people from our graduating year are going to a dinner party, you have to come. Okay, it is a tradition and you have already missed last year's, so you have to go to this one. Naruto was very close to them, but it looked like they were in the middle of a conversation, so he moved to a side and leaned against the fence looking at the street. Hey! Don't you know this is a shinobi-only area? No civilians allowed. Get lost! Shouted the blonde girl very rudely at him. Oh no, you misunderstand. I am a shinobi? Naruto said as he smiled at the blonde. Oh yeah, where is your headband? Come to think of it, I haven't even seen you before. Who are you? Asked Ino. She quickly turned back to Sakura and gave her a smirk. This guy was clearly bluffing, so he could take a look at the Ninja Academy. She was gonna pull a little trick on him. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, what is yours? Asked Naruto as he extended his hand for a handshake. My name is Ino Yamanaka. I am a Chunin of Konoha. Nice to meet you. Hey, want me to show you a real jutsu? Asked Ino in a too sweet voice. Naruto already had alarms going off in his head, but outwardly he remained calm and gave a smile to Ino before saying, I would love to see one. Ino gave him a smile and put her hands on both sides of her head, faced him and closed her eyes. Naruto immediately tensed as he figured out what was going on. Mind transfer technique, shouted Ino. But Naruto was ready because he just swayed back like a tree in a breeze and the mind technique passed him before returning back to Ino's body. Ino blinked as she opened her eyes, before asking Sakura, "Why did it not work?" Sakura pointed at Naruto and said, he dodged it, like he was expecting you to use that." Of course I knew she was going to use the Yamanaka's bloodline jutsu. She put her hands on both sides of her head. It was easy to predict after that, said Naruto. What do they think I am, a fool? Thought Naruto. Okay, so you know a little bit about the shinobi arts, but that is not going to fool us. You are not going inside the academy, you understand? Ino said angrily, as she pointed at the main building in the academy. Geez, calm down. I don't need to go in there anyway. I am past Genin level. My mentor says that I am Jounin level, so you see I am way ahead of what the Ninja Academy teaches. Naruto said in an earnest voice and gave Ino a small smile. Jounin level so you are saying that you are a better ninja than even I am? How about a spar, huh? Surely a high and mighty ninja like you can easily beat a mere Chunin like me, right? Asked Ino in a sarcastic voice. Naruto kept his face neutral even though he clearly realized the sarcasm in her voice. Truth be told, he had had enough of this blonde's attitude. It was time he showed her that he was not lying at all. Being friendly with these type of people were only possible after you showed them that you were better than they are. Naruto nodded and gestured for her to lead the way. As the three young shinobis walked towards the nearest empty training ground, Sakura looked at the blonde stranger curiously. Why are you looking at me like that? Naruto asked. Well, you have not already run off. That is a new height even for civilians. Do you truly think that you can take on Ino? She has got anger issues, you know. When she is angry, she loses control. It has never ended well if you fight an angry Ino. My advice is you take the first chance and escape, or else you will end up in the hospital for sure. Sakura said, in a pleading voice, as she knew that not only will Tsunade punish Ino for assaulting a civilian, she will also punish Sakura for being there but not stopping the fight as a responsible Chunin should. Look, ladies, I am not kidding around when I am saying that I am a ninja. If you think I am lying, then check my chakra signature. You will see that I have been training my chakra since I was very young. Heck, I have wanted to be a ninja since I came to know of the meaning of the word. And even after this, if you don't believe me, that's fine, because I will fight. Do not say later that I didn't warn you already. Ino continued walking, showing complete indifference to Naruto's words. Sakura, however, thought he was not lying. When she looked at him closely, he showed considerable amount of muscle that a lot of taijutsu specialists had. His gait had a natural grace, and his body was like a coiled spring, as if ready for any kind of danger at all times. If this guy was not a ninja, he was still a warrior of some kind. No civilian she knew had the training and discipline to develop an anatomical excellence such as Naruto's. As the trio neared the Hokage mountain, they reached one of the empty training grounds. It was a circular clearing surrounded by a dense canopy of trees. Ino jumped over the gate and opened it from inside so that Naruto and Sakura could enter. Ino, I really don't think this is a good dash, Sakura started saying, but was interrupted by Ino. No, Sakura, these kinds of guys need a lesson in manners, and he obviously did not learn it when we tried to explain it to him nicely. Now he is going to find out the hard way. Ino was dead set on making this blonde cookie realize his mistake. He will think twice before being arrogant ever again. Anytime you are ready. Naruto took a taijutsu stance and wiggled his index finger, letting Ino know he was ready for her. Ino simply charged at Naruto with the taijutsu style that Asuma Sarutobi taught her. Her low-aimed kick did not connect as Naruto suddenly disappeared from her field of vision. She quickly looked around to see him standing casually behind her. She took her stance again when she felt excruciating pain on the back of her shoulder blades and lost consciousness. Sakura could not believe what she saw. 1 minute Naruto was standing in front of Ino, but the next second he was behind her. Not only that, in that small gap he had created a shadow clone and had hidden it behind one of the trees. Sakura rushed to Ino's side to run a simple diagnostic and see if she was all right. Don't worry, I just hit a pressure point. She will wake up in a couple of minutes. Naruto was looking at Sakura's glowing hands intently before concluding that she had some amount of medical training. It was expected since the Godame Hokage was Tsunade. Medical knowledge in Konoha's ninjas must have increased considerably. Ino stirred her hands and rubbed her shoulder before bolting straight up. "What happened?" she asked, looking at Sakura with a deep frown on her face. "Nothing. A civilian just knocked you out cold in less than a minute," Sakura said sarcastically, as she put an emphasis on the word civilian. Ino's face flushed red, but she quickly looked away from Sakura only to see Naruto looking at her. He quickly put his hands up to show he meant no harm. "Look, I am sorry. I guess I should have elaborated before just going with your idea of a fight. You see, I am an orphan from Konoha, and for some reason the Sandaime Hokage saw it fit to just let me grow up and train outside the village. I don't know much about the reason behind it, but I am sure he had a pretty good one for sending me off for so long. So I lived and trained under Master Jiraiya. You guys probably know him as one of the 3 Sannin, and the current Hokage's old teammate." Naruto knew that he had humiliated the Yamanaka enough and now just wanted to be a friend. So he put all his animosities away and gave her a genuine smile. Both the Kunoichi's eyes went wide at Naruto's explanation. He was trained under one of the Sannins for even longer than Sakura had. They both knew from personal experience that training under the Sannins for any period of time is brutal, but the results were astounding. Sakura had come a long way in just 2 years from a very ordinary genin to one of Konoha's best combat medics. If Naruto has trained under Jiraiya for most of his life, then he was far beyond their abilities to handle. Sakura concluded that he was probably as strong as Neji, Shino, or Shikamaru, as they were the youngest 3 from Sakura's year to have gained the status of Jounins. Ino nodded, and to Sakura's pleasant surprise, she said, "I am sorry. I forced you into that kind of situation just because of a little misunderstanding. I hope we can become good friends in the future." Ino quickly extended her hand to Naruto, who shook it, showing his desire to do the same. "So, how old are you guys?" asked Naruto, rubbing the back of his head. "I am 15, so I am guessing that all the people my age are probably Chunins and Jounins by now. Hopefully I won't start as a genin, that will be embarrassing." Naruto moaned, making the girls giggle at his childish thoughts. "We are also 15, and your assumption is quite right. Ino, Lee, Tenten, Kiba, Hinata, and Choji are all Chunins. The only Jounins from our graduating year is Shikamaru, Neji, and Shino. You will probably meet them all tonight if you show up at the gathering we are having. It is just the people our age, and since you are also exactly our age, you should come. It will be fun," Sakura said as the 3 headed out of the training ground and walked back towards the market district. "Yeah, sure, it sounds good. Only one problem. I don't know where it will be or what time it will start." Naruto looked the time and was heading towards the Hokage Tower. It was almost time for him to meet Bachan. "No problem. Me and Ino can come and take you there. Where are you staying right now?" asked Sakura as she found the stranger very interesting. And he was not like Kiba either, always trying to flirt with the girls or trying to get them to date him. "We will be staying in the hotel that is right next to the Hokage mansion, in the east of the market district," said Naruto, pointing in the general direction of the hotel they booked their rooms in. "It's almost time for me to report in to the Hokage right now. Are you guys coming with me, or do you have someplace else to be? I got a free day because Asuma-sensei did not feel like training today, nor do we have any missions until this Friday, and Sakura took a leave today, so we can keep you company for a little longer," Ino said as they reached the bottom of the Hokage Tower. "So what is going to happen? Are you just going to get a Konoha headband? That is it? Will you be a Chunin after that? Boy, you sure are lucky. I and Sakura had to go through the Chunin exams twice before we became Chunins, and the forest is brutal. Well, Jiraiya and the sages tested me frequently in Mount Myoboku to keep tabs on my improvement. They said that I was past Chunin level when they tested me at the age of 11. Then, according to the sages, I made Jounin a little before my 14th birthday. They thought I was excelling as a shinobi, but I kept on training and training because I knew that Konoha was among the strongest in all the shinobi villages, and by the time it was my 15th birthday I made it high-level Jounin. Naruto was talking to the kunoichis as he walked up the final set of stairs. "Shizune-chan, how are you doing?" asked Naruto as he saw the Hokage's assistant behind the reception. "Naruto, I am fine. How are you?" "Gosh, you have grown quite a bit since we last met." Shizen walked up to Naruto and gave him a quick hug before she went back to the reception and wrote his name down. "I am doing fine. Ero-sanin has been training me constantly for the last year and a half. I am far stronger than I was 2 years ago when I fought that Hibi-sanin Orochimaru and his pal Kabuto," Naruto said, casually surprising both Sakura and Ino. "Naruto, how do you know Shizen-chan?" asked Ino as he turned back towards them. "I went on a mission with Ero-sanin to find Tsunade-sama so that she could take the spot as the Hokage of Konoha after the death of the Sandaime Hokage. That is when I first met Shizune-chan. She was Tsunade-sama's assistant back then too." "Kid, how many times do I have to tell you to stop calling me that? Especially in front of such beautiful ladies?" Jiraiya said from the door of the Hokage's office as he looked at Sakura and Ino. Yeah. Keep your perverted thoughts to yourself," said Naruto like he had already had this discussion 100 times before. Tsunade and Shizen both smirked at Naruto's attitude towards Jiraiya's perverseness. He walked into the Hokage's office looking around and taking in the room's elaborate decor and exquisite furniture. Tsunade was a little taken back by the sheer growth in Naruto physique. Naruto was at least half a foot taller than he was the last time she met him. He stood almost head-to-head with Jiraiya. He had also become much more muscular and moved more like a predator than the clumsy teen she remembered. The most striking feature, though, was his face. It was almost exactly like Minato's with the obvious whisker marks on his cheeks. Where Minato's face had a refined and gentle look, Naruto's was rougher and more angular, giving his face a wolfish appearance. "So Naruto, I see you have met 2 of my students already. What do you think of Konoha? I assume you have been looking around a little bit," asked Tsunade. "Well, that was the plan, but the only place I got a good look at was the Hokage Mountain before I met Ino and Sakura, and there was a little misunderstanding between us, but now it is all cleared out." "Sakura, can you elaborate on this misunderstanding that Naruto mentioned?" ordered Tsunade as she looked at Ino. She knew Ino was a little impatient and hot-tempered, and had gotten into fights with many civilians of Konoha. "Hi, Ino was trying to cheer me up and was inviting me to the gathering that the people from my graduating year are having tonight when she saw Naruto standing by the fence and was looking at the ninja academy. She immediately mistook him for a civilian and tried to play a trick on him, which failed. When Naruto denied being a civilian, it only angered her more, and she challenged him to a duel. Naruto went with me and Ino to training ground in the southwestern side of Konoha, and they had a fight. Sakura was trying to minimize the situation to its bare minimum so that Ino didn't go into probation again. That could take a very bad effect on her career as a shinobi." "So, how did it go?" asked Tsunade, obviously interested to see how Naruto matched up against the shinobis his age. "If you call getting knocked out in under a minute without being able to land a single hit on the opponent you are fighting, then yes, Naruto and I had a fight." Ino was staring at the floor as she admitted how easily she was defeated by Naruto. "Wow," thought Tsunade. "He is really as strong as Jiraiya says he is." "Hey, listen, there is no reason to feel bad if you were defeated by Naruto. He was meant to be trained to be a special ninja. That is why he grew up outside the village," Jiraiya said, surprising Naruto, Sakura, and Ino. "Really?" asked Ino, as she felt reassured that she was not totally useless as a shinobi. "Sure, how many Konoha nins do you know that grew up outside of Konoha? Think about that." "Hey Ino, let's go. I have to tell you something. Naruto, we will be at your hotel at about 7. See you later, and don't forget to wear formal clothes," said Sakura as she and Ino walked out of the office. "So, Bachan, are you going to give me a headband, or do I have to start off as a genin?" asked Naruto as he looked at the portraits of all the Hokages of Konoha, and as usual his eyes stopped on the Yandames. Something about the man always appealed to him, but he could never point out what it was that nagged him whenever he laid eyes on the picture of the youngest man to ever become the Hokage of Konoha. "Not so easy, Gaki. You have to prove what you are made of before you get the headband, and I have to determine what level you are. Tsunade was smirking. She already had a very good opponent for him in her mind. What do I have to do? Asked Naruto. He knew the Godame Hokage's smirk and he was already self-conscious. A spar just to see how good you are, nothing else. Your opponent is going to be Shikamaru Nara. Tsunade figured that brains were the best defense against Bronzo. She decided to see how good Naruto truly was when he faced someone as smart as Shikamaru. Nara, huh? I know the best defense against them. Surprise is the only option to take them down quickly and efficiently. Naruto had always paid attention to what Fukasaku-pa had said, and he had tried them before and they have always worked in every situation. Yeah. Okay, let's do this quickly. I have to go somewhere to meet one of my informants. It is information on Tsunagakure. It looks like Akatsuki is going to make a move on their Kazekage. Jiraiya whispered to Tsunade, who nodded before she, Naruto, Jiraiya, and Shizen walked out of the Hokage Tower and towards one of the training grounds. As they moved towards the training ground, Naruto saw a spiky and black-haired boy lying on the ground and staring at the clouds. Along with him was a man who seemed to be a chain smoker, a big brown-haired boy, and also Ino, who waved at him. "So you are Naruto Uzumaki, huh?" asked the guy who was smoking a cigarette. He looked at Naruto closely before adding, "I can see why Ino was beaten by you." "Oh, that was nothing. It was all a stupid misunderstanding," Naruto said with a smile as he rubbed the back of his head. "All right, Shikamaru. This is your opponent Naruto," said Tsunade as she went in the middle of the training ground. Shikamaru slowly got up and muttered, "Troublesome. Stereotypical of all the Nara clan," thought Naruto as he got ready for the spar. "All right, to proctor this match I have called Gunma. He is an expert and he proctored all the matches in the past few Chunin exams." Tsunade waved and a man with a bandana-style headband jumped down from one of the trees. "Hi guys," he said and beckoned the two fighters to face each other. All weapons and ninja tools are allowed along with the use of soldier pills, animals, bugs, and other ninja accomplices. All forms of jutsus are allowed except for the ones that can kill instantly. There are no limit to the use of unique jutsus and bloodline limits. Is that understood? Both Naruto and Shikamaru nodded. "All right, begin." Genma moved out of the way of both the fighters. "Kage no jutsu," shouted Shikamaru and bound Naruto in his jutsu. He quickly put his hand in his holster and pulled out a kunai. Naruto mimicked his movements and also pulled out a kunai. "Now you realize what my jutsu is doing, so I will ask you if you will give up right now or not. Move your eyes to the right if you want to." "Wow, nice jutsu, too bad I knew about it from the beginning, and I also know that you Naras think like 10 moves ahead every time. So the best way to take you guys down is by surprise." About 20 more Narutos jumped down from the trees, and the one that was under the Kage main jutsu disappeared in cloud of smoke. "Attaboy," thought Jiraiya as he looked over to Asuma Sarutobi, only to see his mouth hanging open and his cigarette was lying on the ground. "Looks like someone is surprised," said Jiraiya with a chuckle. Shikamaru quickly pulled back the Kage main jutsu and raised his hand. "I forfeit," he said in his usual bored voice as he walked over to Genma. Lazy ass, thought both Naruto and Tsunade. She knew it was a big risk to ask Shikamaru to take a spar seriously, but she didn't think he would give up this fast. "Well, Gaki, looks like you are a shinobi of Konoha. Let's go back to my office so we can fill out the paperwork and you will get the headband. I will see you at the party, okay? Oh, and this is my other teammate Choji, and that is my sensei Asuma Sarutobi," said Ino, pointing at Choji and then at Asuma. Choji waved at him. "I have been looking forward to meet you after Ino told me about you. She says you are from Konoha but you grew up outside. I would like to know about your travels." Choji sounded like an excited baby, but Naruto concluded that he was probably a kind of person with a golden heart, something very rare among shinobis. "Okay guys, I'll meet you in the evening then." Naruto, Tsunade, Shizune, and Jiraiya sushined back to the Hokage's office and Shizune pulled out a file with his name on it from the cabinet and handed it to Tsunade. "I believe that the Sandaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi had it made covertly and left it with Tsunade-sama. Finally, Naruto's name will be added to the archives as a shinobi of Konoha. Welcome home, Naruto. Shizen smiled and then went back to the reception. Boy, Sensei thought about everything, didn't he? Chuckling at himself, Jiraiya opened the folder. He quickly scanned it and handed it to Naruto. He looked at Tsunade and said, "Looks like there is nothing amiss. So let's get this business over with, I need to get going." Naruto signed the forms where your signature is required, and I will get the headbands there are, choose whichever style you like. Naruto quickly signed the papers and then looked at the headbands that were laid out in front of him. He quickly chose the one with the extra long strap and tied it to his forehead. Now, we can talk about the rankings. Judging from today's display, you are definitely a Jounin, but I know nothing about your abilities when you are in a team, so I am going to put you in as a Tokubetsu Jounin, and then send you out on team missions. If you are just as good a team worker, then you are fully qualified to be a Jounin of Konoha. Right now, I have no missions for you, but be here tomorrow. I will see what I can dig up for you. Okay. Hey, do you mind if I borrow Ne-chan for an hour or so? Asked Naruto. He had no idea about fashion or knew where to buy clothes, so he figured Shizen could really help him out. I am glad you asked. Yes, take her out of this cooped-up office for some time. She has been really stressed the past few weeks. Just make sure she comes back to report the day's work. K? See you later, Ero-sanin. Bachan. Naruto ran out of the Hokage office as he heard loud curses coming from both Tsunade and Jiraiya. Shizen Ne-chan, I need your help, can you help me? I wish I could, but I have a lot of work left. Shizen sighed as she looked back to the files that still needed to be sorted. Yeah, I know, but Bachan said you really need some fresh air, so let's go. Naruto grabbed both of Shizen's hands and literally dragged a thrashing and screaming Shizen out of the Hokage tower. Naruto let go of her hands and she folded them with an angry pout on her face. That was rude, Naruto. Yeah. Sorry, but I really need your help to pick out some good clothes for tonight's party. Heck, I don't even know what formal clothes look like, much less buy them and wear them. So please help me out. Naruto had his hands folded and was pleading to Shizen. Shizen couldn't help but laugh at Naruto's antics. Okay, let's go. You wanted to buy formal clothes, right? Sakura and Ino walked towards the inn where Naruto was staying. They had just met Temari, who was here on a mission to convey a request from Gaara to the Godame Hokage of Konoha. They had both seen her with Shikamaru heading towards the gathering. As they neared the inn, Sakura's thoughts drifted towards the new stranger she met in the afternoon. She wondered what it would have been like if he grew up with them. Maybe he would also have been a part of Team 7 like Sasuke and Sai. She was jostled from her thoughts when Ino nudged her arm. What? Asked Sakura. Do you know what room he is staying in? Ino was looking at the hallway lined with doors. No, let's just wait in the lobby. I am sure he will be out in no time. Sakura headed towards the lobby with a few empty chairs. Hey, this place is packed. Looks like there is going to be a lot of people here for the Chunin exams this time too, said Ino as she looked at the amount of people waiting in the lobby. Sakura nodded in agreement. Usually the lobby is empty, but today there were only a few chairs empty. I think we should ask the receptionist, which Ino began saying when she saw Sakura staring in a different direction. Her eyes fixed and her mouth slightly open. Ino also turned to see what she was staring at and was stunned too. Naruto was turning the corner where the hallway with the rooms connected to the lobby. He looked like a completely different person from when they met him earlier. It looked like he had shaved his face, which showed a 3-day beard earlier. It looked like he trimmed his hair down a bit, but the most eye-catching change were his clothes and the Konoha headband. He was not wearing the gray jacket and the black pants from earlier. Instead, he was wearing an orange robe with black flames, a black full-sleeved shirt that was tucked into off-white pants, which were being well complemented with the shin-length black sandals. He looked around the lobby before his eyes settled on Ino and Sakura. He smiled and headed their way. So where is the party? He asked, shaking both Sakura and Ino out of their awe-stricken stare. Oh yeah, let's go, said Sakura as she quickly turned away towards the exit. So Naruto, did you buy those clothes in Konoha? Asked Sakura as they made their way towards the food court. Huh? Oh yeah. Shizen-chan took me to this huge shinobi store. They had everything you could think of. She chose these for me and Ero-san paid for it. Ooh, did you go to the Shadow Armor? I have always wanted to buy clothes from there, but my parents always deny, saying that the place is overpriced. Ino squealed as she clasped her hands and stared at Naruto with puppy dog eyes. Haha. These clothes are sure expensive, but the kunoichi clothes were amazing. You should definitely go there, said Naruto, rubbing the back of his head as he tried to encourage Ino. Oh please, don't get her started on shopping. She can talk about that for hours. Can we just hurry up and get to the party? Sakura said in an exasperated voice as they neared the food court. Oh, whatever. Not like you were not bragging about that new kimono that you were wearing, Ino said as she put a pout on her face. But that's because it's a gift, said Sakura in a flustered voice as her face flushed crimson. And who gave it to you? Asked Ino in a mischievous voice. A guy at the infirmary said it was a thank you gift for taking care of his injured leg, Sakura said tentatively. So he gave one to Tsunade and one to Shizune too, because they were the ones that helped with the success of the operation, right? Asked Ino with a smirk on her face. And no, he just gave one to me. Sakura had a deep blush on her face as she said that. Sue, what does that tell you? Ino was really starting to make Sakura uncomfortable. All of this was direct hints from the guy that he might like her. Hey, is that where the party is going to be? Interjected Naruto as he pointed at the huge pavilion where people were starting to gather. I am going to look for Sai. Why don't you help him get acquainted with the others? Ino vanished before Sakura could respond. So shall we? Asked Naruto as he held his hand out. Sakura was a little taken aback, but when she looked at Naruto, she saw a genuine smile and a chance at friendship. She tentatively took his hand as she led him into the pavilion. Hey Sakura, is that the new guy everyone is talking about? Kiba, as boisterous as ever, came over to the duo as he sized Naruto up and gave him a smirk. Yes, Naruto, this is Kiba Inuzuka. He is a member of the Genin Group Team 8 with Hinata Hyuga and Shino Aburame. Kiba, this is Naruto Uzumaki. Hey, I suppose you have a pet canine, right? What's his name? Asked Naruto as he looked around. Yeah, Akamaru is in the kennels back at the Inuzuka compound resting. We just got back from a mission today. Wait, how did you know I have a pet? Kiba was quite surprised at Naruto's knowledge of their clan. Oh, I know quite a bit about all the clans and bloodline limits that are from Konoha. After all, I was bound to come back. I am from Konoha as well. Naruto was trying to judge Kiba just like Kiba was judging Naruto, only in a more subtle and intuitive manner. His skills at reading chakra signatures were first class, and it helped him determine what type and caliber of ninja the chakra belonged to. Kiba's chakra signature showed him to be mid-level Chunin and belonged to the head of the Inuzuka clan. This guy was probably the future heir of his clan. Oh yeah, is that right? So what rank are you starting off as? Academy student or genin? Kiba's behavior was starting to get on Sakura's nerves, as usual. Was he trying to pick a fight with Naruto, a ninja who was on par with Shikamaru? Hey, whoa man, chill out. I'm just here to enjoy the party. Naruto had his hands up, showing he meant no harm. Back off, Inuzuka. He can beat you no problem. The Hyuga prodigy, Niji, just walked into the pavilion with Tenten and Lee. What do you want, Hyuga? Growled Kiba. Kiba and Niji never got along after Niji beat Kiba in the Chunin exams final round the first time. Just letting you know that he is Tokubetsu Jounin of this village and technically your senior officer. You better hope he does not make your life difficult, Niji said coolly as he looked at Naruto. Stop it, both of you. Tenten came in between the two quarreling teens, just like she always did when there was a probability of a fight about to ensue between Niji and Kiba. We are here to enjoy the day we graduated from the academy together, not renew old grudges. YOSH. Well said, Temari-chan, let us flourish our flames of youth for all to see, Lee yelled, much to the dismay of his teammates. Naruto looked from Lee to Sakura, quietly trying to decipher the meaning of the green spandex-clad teen's words. Oh yeah, he is a little weird, but he is the greatest taijutsu user among us, and one of the Chunins with the highest number of missions accomplished. Sakura whispered to Naruto, It was common knowledge in Konoha that anybody who did rounds around the village at 5 in the morning was definitely not in the right state of mind. Naruto? Is that you? Temari had just walked into the pavilion with Shikamaru in tow. Temari, how are you? How are Kankuro and Gaara? Naruto was pleasantly surprised to see Temari, but he knew that Temari was the ambassador of Sunagakure, just as Shikamaru was the ambassador from Konohagakure. You two know each other? Asked Shikamaru, looking between Temari and Naruto with a small frown on his face. Yeah, I went to Suno when I was 12 because my mentor thought it would be a good idea to see someone like me from a different village. So I went and met Gaara. He was quite different before. Naruto was keeping the fact that they were both Jinchurikis because the people in Konoha did not know about him yet, and he did not know if they knew about Gaara. Yeah, because of him Gaara changed a lot, and now the people of Suna see Gaara as a true leader even though he is a little young to be the Kazekage. He has the village's full support and respect. Temari knew how much Naruto had done for Gaara even though he did not know Gaara when they first met. This has brought all the 3 Suna siblings to be close friends with Naruto. Naruto, what a troublesome guy. Knows everyone but the people from his own village, thought Shikamaru as Temari and Naruto hugged. Hello Sakura, is that Uzumaki Naruto? I heard he has just returned to Konoha after being trained by Jiraiya of the Sannin for approximately 15 years. Sakura's sweat dropped. Sai as usual has done his homework about the new ninja of Konoha. Yes Sai, that is Naruto. Why don't you go talk to him? Sakura and Ino both knew that Sai was the most awkward person socially. It was because he grew up in Route ANBU that he had no social skills whatsoever when he first joined Team 7 as a genin. He had come a long way, but he was still a little off when it came to interacting with people normally. Hello Uzumaki. Naruto, my name is Sai. I am a Chunin of Konoha and a part of Team 7 with Haruno. Sakura. Sai said to Naruto as he marched up to Naruto and stood directly in front of him, almost in a threatening manner. Ah yeah. Good to know, said Naruto a little uncertainly at the strange behavior of this guy. Ino came to the rescue by whispering to Naruto about Sai's childhood. Naruto nodded in understanding because he knew very well how Danzo treated the ANBU in the Root Division. There was no place for errors and mistakes as the Root Division handled the dirtiest and most covert operations where Konoha's name was not supposed to come at all. So Sakura, what stuff did you guys plan on doing? Naruto was interested to know what the people of Konoha did for fun. He had been to other villages and most of the parties he attended had dances, fireworks, and incredible feats and displays of jutsus by ninjas. Well, we usually talk about our lives and the new jutsus that we learned over the last year, and after dinner there is music so people that feel like dancing goes ahead and dance. Then we share stories about interesting missions. Hey, dinner is ready. 4 really big men came over carrying huge trays that were heaped with food and delicacies. Whoa, that's a lot of food. How do you guys arrange something like that? Asked Naruto. He was surprised that it was in the budget of these ninjas to be able to order food of this quantity and quality for a small and casual party such as this one. Oh, we don't have to pay anything. We get the food courtesy of the Akamichi clan and their barbecue is the best in the village. Sakura gestured for Naruto to follow and went to the tables that were set in a circle so that all of them could sit down and eat together. Everyone quickly gathered around and sat down as the 4 men put the food on the tables before going back. So Naruto, tell us something about yourself. Where did you grow up and what kinds of things have you been doing before coming to Konoha? Asked Choji. He was quite interested in the stranger mainly because there were very few strangers that came to the village and got enrolled as a ninja with a few hours. Thought Naruto for a few seconds before he began speaking. Well, the day I was born was the day that the village was attacked by the Kyuubi. My parents were ninjas of Konoha and they died trying to fight the fox. Jiraiya-sama came to the village after the whole incident was over, and he said that he found me on the streets. So he took me to Mount Myoboken where I trained under the tutelage of all the sages. Jiraiya-sama also trained me himself and taught me 3 of my strongest techniques that I know. I also did missions that Jiraiya-sama asked of me and worked with him occasionally on missions that he could not do by himself. Oh, what kind of missions did you do together? Asked Choji in an odd voice. Here was a guy who claimed to have worked with Jiraiya of the legendary Sannin. The Sannins handled missions that were beyond the caliber of any other ninjas. Well, most of them I cannot really talk about because they are really covert, but there is one that I did with him when I was 11. He said that he had found out about an organization of S-class ninja criminals and he wanted to see where one of their hideouts was. We went undercover as tourists in one of the villages surrounding Amigakure. Jiraiya-sama told me to scout out the village and the surrounding areas and went to Amigakure for information gathering and scouting. I did as I was told and scouted out the village but found nothing suspicious other than a ruined hut. When I got closer to the hut, it had numerous booby traps set up around it. Intrigued, I went into the hut by avoiding the booby traps but found nothing inside other than 4 planks with pictures of frogs and names written under each picture. One of the planks was in a very bad condition and I could not make out the name on that one, but the other ones had the names Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan. I searched these names in all the village ninja catalogs and bingo books from all ninja villages, but these guys are definitely not official ninjas. Later, Jiraiya-sama returned and said that he had gotten a lot of information from the villages, and then I told him about the small hut. We went to check it out but didn't find anything that I did not already see. So we left. Later, I found out that we were on a mission to find out that the head of the organization was the guy who was actually in control of the village of Amigakure. Their Kage has no real power. Naruto face held a very grave expression as told the group of his mission. BS, we do not get sent on S-class missions at all for a reason. You see, all Chunin level ninjas only do A and B-class missions. There is no way that Jiraiya-sama would take a mere 11-year-old on a S-class investigation mission. If he wanted to, he could have any number of A and BU accompany him. What is so special about you? Many had the same thoughts going through their heads, but Kiba was not the silent type, so he challenged Naruto's claim. Nobody outdid Kiba when it came to exaggerating a mission's difficulty, and especially when relating it to the rest of the ninjas about how the mission went. He took me because I am really good at stealth and covert missions, and also because at the time my skills were better than most ANBU squad leaders. Naruto had not realized that ANBU was a much respected organization that only took the best of the best that Konoha had to offer. Challenging them in front of a group of young Chunins and Jounins was a very bad choice. Oh yeah, I say bullshit to that because you are not a protege of this village's best ninja like Kakashi Hatake, and you don't have any bloodline limits, looking at Niji, to enhance your stealth abilities. So what do you have that allows you to be better than the ANBU squad leaders? Shouted back Kiba as he got more and more infuriated by the newcomer's excessive boasting. Better watch your tongue, Inuzuka. You are talking to an official of a higher rank, Niji said with a very cold edge in his voice. I have speed, said Naruto in a very calm voice as he disappeared from where he was sitting and reappeared behind Kiba leaning against the wall, with a smirk on his face. Kiba looked around frantically before asking out loud, "Where'd he go?" Niji, Shino, and Shikamaru all pointed behind Kiba, while Ino, Sakura, and Choji were trying really hard not to laugh. It seems that his words were not just exaggeration, he is indeed skilled, said a new voice from a corner of the pavilion where a silver-haired ninja was standing looking at the ground. Kakashi-sensei, what a pleasant surprise, said Sakura. It has been almost a whole year since she had talked to her previous sensei. Yo Sakura-sai, nice to see you both. It seems Tsunade-sama in redeploying Team 7 for a mission. We have a new member, Naruto. Ambassador Temari, you are to accompany us to Sunagakure. We are going on a mission to help against the kidnap of the Kazekage. Mission details will be delivered to all of you at the Hokage's office tomorrow. Please be there at exactly 7 in the morning. Shikamaru Nara, please escort the ambassador to the Hokage's office immediately. Kakashi sushined away, along with Shikamaru and a very worried Temari towards the Hokage tower. Gaara has been kidnapped? Who could have possibly entered Suna and kidnapped their Kazekage? Seems like an extremely powerful shinobi's work. Naruto's frantic thoughts ran through the minds of many that were present there. Gaara is an extremely strong shinobi, and given the fact that he was in Suna gives him a huge advantage. Who could have been strong enough to abduct him from his own village? Said Shino in his usual monotone voice. Indeed, the Abiram's claim has credit. Gaara is the strongest among all of us, and Suna security is first class. It must have been quite a fight to get Gaara out of there. These ninjas are definitely not your ordinary type criminals. They must have bounty on their heads. Niji said as he pulled out his bingo book and started looking at the missing nins with the heaviest bounties on their heads. Naruto went over to Niji and also looked at the bingo book over his shoulder. Whoever infiltrated Suna has to know the inner workings of the village that gives only one possibility, Sasori of the Sand. And he has got quite a bounty on his head. Are there no more Suna missing nins that are capable of kidnapping Gaara? Asked Naruto as he took the bingo book from Niji and flipped a few more pages. There are no more Suna nins that are strong enough to single-handedly infiltrate the village and kidnap their number one citizen. This information could be useful. Let's report to the Hokage Tower right now. Yes, but is it going to be all right if we all just barged into the office right now? Asked Naruto. He was well aware of Tsunade's anger, especially her temperament when she usually relaxes and drinks sake. No choice. This is a matter of our ally's life as well as the protection of the ambassador, who is currently under Konoha's protection, Niji said as he stood up. Okay, Niji and I will go to the Hokage Tower. Maybe you guys should stay here and we will come back later, said Naruto before he and Niji both sushined towards the Hokage Tower. In Hokage's office, Naruto and Niji ran up the stairs and knocked on the door of the office. Shizune opened the door and was quite surprised to find Niji and Naruto standing before her. Niji-san, Naruto, what is going on? Shouldn't you guys be at the gathering? We have urgent and important information for Hokage-sama. We need to let her know of this immediately, said Niji and walked into the office when Shizune moved away from the door and let them in. Niji marched right up to Tsunade's desk and said, I and Naruto have deduced a possible ninja who could have done the kidnapping of Gaara from within the walls of Suna. I think this can be valuable when we are preparing to go to Suna to investigate and retrieve the Kazekage from the kidnappers. Naruto walked in and put his hand on Temari's shoulder, letting her know that he was also worried about Gaara. What have you two found out? Asked Tsunade, very much interested. Niji's deductions had always proved valuable before, and this one could be a good one as well. To be able to infiltrate Suna and kidnap the Kazekage, one has to know how the security of the village functions. Someone can do that only if she is a ninja of that village. The only missing nin from Suna capable of doing that is Sasori of the Sand, unless this one is a new criminal that we have not heard of before, replied Niji, satisfied that he had covered all the aspects that could show that his deduction was wrong or had any miscalculations. Temari, what are your thoughts on this? Asked Tsunade as she looked at the grief-stricken girl's face. The Red Puppeteer abandoned Suna more than a few decades ago. We ourselves don't even know for sure whether he is alive or not, much less say with certainty that he was the one that actually kidnapped Gaara, replied Temari. She was not absolutely certain, but it could have been the Red Puppeteer after all. Whoever took down Kankuro, a puppet master of the highest caliber in their village, had to know something about puppets and their disadvantages. There were reports that Kankuro had a fight, and it was the result of that fight that he was poisoned. It looked suspiciously like a puppet was responsible for this poisoning because they found a wooden claw embedded in his arm which contained the poison. Tomorrow I will be sending Team 7 mainly because Sakura is a part of it. She is the only one other than me and Shizune that has any hope of saving your brother from being poisoned to death, Tsunade said as she got up to leave the room. Kakashi, you better be here on time tomorrow or I will cut your pay for the rest of the year. You hear me? Yes, Hokage-sama. I can assure you that there will be no delay tomorrow, said Kakashi, reassuring himself more than the others in the room. Too bad, thought Tsunade. I could have bought a lot of fine quality sake with that amount of money. At the pavilion, Ino, Sakura, Tenten, and Hinata sat silently, all wondering how their friend Temari was feeling about this sudden and disastrous news about her brothers, her only remaining family. Choji, Lee, Shino, and Kiba, on the other hand, had very different thoughts racing through their heads. Sai just sat on an empty table with a blank look on his face, very Sai-like. Kiba was thinking of the best way to retain the very weak alliance with Suna would mean that a full reinforcement in helping find Gaara, something that they could not afford to give to Suna in their current situation. Konoha itself was in dire need of more shinobis as it is. They were already handing out C-ranked missions to the Genins. How far can they go on like this? Lee was thinking what was taking his friend so long to return and give him hopefully a mission in backing up Team 7, Team 7 was disbanded 2 years ago. Redeploying such an old team for such an important mission, what is the Godame Hokage thinking? Choji had lost his appetite, something that rarely happened. Gaara was kidnapped. Gaara, the strongest ninja he had known in the Chunin exams, and now the current Kazekage of Sunagakure. It is impossible to believe that there are shinobi strong enough to overpower the Kages like this, in their own village surrounded by guards and security, not to mention the fact that he was a Jinchuriki with full control over the Shikaku. How strong is this Sasori of the Sand? What can an old team like Team 7 do against such an opponent? They do not even have Sasuke Uchiha anymore. He is after all the holder of the strongest Kekkai Genkai that the village had in over a century. The Uchiha force was one of the key factors because of which Konoha triumphed in the Third Shinobi World War. Two simultaneous whooshing sounds alerted the Chunins that their comrades had arrived from the Hokage Tower. "What happened?" asked 7 anxious voices as soon as the two landed in the middle of the pavilion. The Hokage has taken into consideration that the kidnapper might be Sasori of the Sand. "Sakura, you are to pack all the materials needed for poison removal. Temari's older brother, the puppet master Kankuro, was poisoned in the skirmish that occurred when they were kidnapping Gaara. Tsunade-sama gave the ultimate threat that works against Kakashi. You guys better not be late. Lee, I need you to accompany me to Gai-sensei's house. I want to ask him to see if he can acquire a backup mission to help Team 7. Sakura, Tsunade-sama probably has everything you need at the hospital already. I suggest you pack right now. Ino, Choji, go to the Nara estate. The ambassador is in need of companionship tonight. Hinata-sama, you must report back at the Hyuga compound. It is past curfew for you, and please keep this mission a secret from the council and Haishi-sama, at least for the sake of Konoha. Uzumaki, since you have an early mission, my only advice is, get a good night's sleep. As far as experience goes, you will need as much of it as possible." Niji's commands were followed instantly as everyone went about doing exactly as Niji asked the others to do. Naruto, for his part, left the pavilion and returned to the room he was lodged in. He knew he could not sleep even if he had wanted to, so he quickly packed a few clothes in a small pocket scroll and pulled out the scroll that contained his armor that the sages made for him after he had learned enough sealing techniques to make good use of it. Next he sat down and made 3 clones so they could gather nature energy. He himself sat down into a meditative state where he would neither be completely asleep nor would he be awake. He would be in a trance-like state where his body and mind can rest but still be attentive to his environment. This was taught to Naruto by Jiraiya after learning what the Shikaku had done with Gaara. Jiraiya had told Naruto to use this only on missions, and the Shikaku was able to do that to Gaara only because Gaara's seal was weak and not nearly on the level of the seal that Minato had put on Naruto. But it is never bad to stay cautious. After all, the more Kyuubi chakra Naruto used, the more his seal weakened. Morning came soon enough and Tsunade was taking her sleep right on the desk. There had been an influx of documents from the Fire Daimyo demanding that Konoha must help Suna in their Kazekage kidnapping with full support, because he still owed Sunagakure some money. There had also been requests from other elemental nations about more information on Sunagakure's status, and as a cherry on top, the council had demanded a meeting with her the first thing in the morning. To sum it all up, Tsunade had one of the worst nights of her time as the Godame Hokage. Shizen walked into her office and was not surprised in the least to find Tsunade in her current state. She set another stack of documents on the desk before shaking her up from her nap. "Tsunade-sama, Kakashi is here on the Kazekage kidnapping mission." Tsunade looked at her with bleary eyes before muttering something about bothersome assistance and walked off into the bathroom. As she walked out, she saw Kakashi waiting patiently in front of her desk and Sakura standing quietly behind. "Where are Temari and Naruto?" "Temari will be here shortly," Sakura interjected as she saw Temari getting ready to leave at the Nara compound. As if on cue, the door to the office opened and in walked Temari accompanied by Shikamaru. "Now where is that Naruto?" thought Tsunade when something jumped into the office through the open window. For a few moments Tsunade was too stunned to process what she was seeing. It was Naruto, only not like the Naruto she had seen before. Naruto was completely outfitted in full black leather armor. Gauntlets adorned his arms. He had full-sleeved leather shirt along with leather pants, and shin-length boots finished the outfit. Think Cloud and Advent Children, only completely full-sleeved. Finally, she snapped out of her daze as she thought, if Naruto keeps up his fashion statement, in a few days all the kunoichis of Konoha are going to start to chase him around. Hokage-sama, we are still waiting for the mission details, said Kakashi in a sarcastic tone. There was no doubt a smirk on his face behind that mask of his. Yes, as far as we know, the Kazekage has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki, and their intention is clearly to extract the Shikaku from Gaara, which will surely kill the Kazekage unless we can find him and stop the kidnappers. As you might know, Sai cannot accompany you to this mission because his duties as an ANBU requires him to be someplace else. Therefore, I will dispatch a backup team shortly after Team 7 leaves. Therefore, for this mission I dispatch Kakashi Hatake as the Jounin captain with Tokubetsu Jounin Naruto Uzumaki, Chunin Sakura Haruno, and Sunagakure Ambassador Temari. Hi! Came three simultaneous voices as Naruto, Sakura, and Temari vanished from the office. Only the wide-eyed Kakashi remained. Hokage-sama, did you just say Uzumaki? Asked Kakashi, as he looked at the spot that Naruto was standing only a few minutes before. Damn it, I shouldn't have said his last name. I blew his cover, thought Tsunade as she sighed before replying Kakashi's question. Yes, you heard me right, Kakashi, that is Naruto Uzumaki, the last surviving member of the Uzumaki clan, and also the Namikaze clan. Are you saying that he is my sensei's? But what happened, how? Sputtered Kakashi, completely losing control of his emotions and bearings, realizing that he had been living a big lie this whole time. He had been blaming himself all this time for not being there for his sensei, and Kushina, who was like an elder sister to him when the Kyuubi had attacked the village. Now Naruto's return proves that there was some chance that he could make up for his past mistakes through his guidance in the Yondaime Hokage's legacy's upbringing. Tsunade stood up and walked around the desk, facing Kakashi squarely. Listen, Kakashi, what I am about to say is a high-profile secret of Konoha that was originally known only by me, Jiraiya, and the Sandaime Hokage. Not even the council knows that Naruto is the Yondaime's legacy. But there is a much darker secret to him than you realize. Do you swear to an oath of secrecy to what I am about to say to you? I do, Hokage-sama, replied Kakashi. All right, here is what truly happened on the night that the Kyuubi attacked the village, started Tsunade as she turned around and looked at the rest of Konoha through the huge glass wall in the office. Minato was with Kushina when the Kyuubi attacked, but it just wasn't a rampage, as we thought previously. The fox was being controlled by someone extremely powerful. As a result, he was summoned out of Kushina during her delivery. Minato confronted the person, but he had Naruto in his hands, and therefore Minato had to let him go. By that time, the fox was planning on getting to Konoha, so Minato faced him down and sealed him again, giving his life in the process. You already know why Kushina died, but the boy that Minato sealed the fox within was Naruto. That is why Sarutobi-sensei thought it was imperative that Naruto grow up outside the village. His life would have been worse than hell if he lived in the village. The villagers would have treated him like Kyuubi itself, while the council would have tore the boy's future by trying to control him. Do you now understand why we had to keep this secret from the rest of Konoha? Asked Tsunade, turning back to look at Kakashi in the eye. Yes, Hokage-sama, replied Kakashi in a quiet voice. Naruto still does not know about his heritage or his parents, and for now I would like to keep it that way. Take care of him. I would like to see him fulfill his dream. I suggest you move out. There is still a mission at hand. Hi! Shouted Kakashi, and he too sushined out of her office. Well, at least he can keep this to himself. I have to make sure that Jiraiya gives the details to Kakashi later. He is the best person right now to continue Naruto's training. Thought Tsunade as she was getting ready to pull out some sake when Shizun poked her head through the door. Hokage-sama, the 3 elder council members are here to discuss a matter of utmost importance with you. Shizun's facial expression already confirmed that this concerned the new ninja of the village that appeared out of nowhere in the records. Yes, send them in and bring Naruto's file with you. I will have to put the blame on Sarutobi-sensei, won't I? Said Tsunade with a smirk on her face, which disappeared as soon as Koharu Udatane and Hamura Mitokado entered her office, and it soon turned into a scowl when they were followed by Danzo Shimura. Tsunade, there seems to be a discrepancy in the ninja records. Hamura was going through the registration files, and there seems to be a new ninja of quite a high rank who has no history whatsoever in the academy or on missions. Where is he from and why is he here? Asked Koharu with an annoyed face. It really was not the council's place to deal with such trifle matters, and Tsunade noticed that point quickly enough. And why is the council worrying about such small matters? We usually leave it to the clerks to clarify such mistakes if there are any? Asked Tsunade in an annoyed voice feigning ignorance. Why? Well, is it not obvious? It says that his last name is Uzumaki. I thought we had seen the last of them with the last Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Where did this one drop off from? Asked Hamura, now getting angry because there was a smirk forming on Tsunade's lips. Shizune, do you have the file? Asked Tsunade, as she looked at Shizune standing at the back corner of the room. Yes, Hokage-sama, here, said Shizune as she handed her the file. Tsunade flipped to the page that held the information that held Naruto's details and his life history, made up by the Sandaime Hokage, and handed it to Koharu. He looked at the contents with furrowed brows before handing it to Hamura. That still does not explain his parentage or his last name. Who were his parents? Asked Koharu, looking back at the Godaime Hokage with suspicion. As you already know, there were quite a few Uzumakis in Konoha during the Kyuubi attack. It could have been the child of any one of them. Do not ask me, how would I know? I came to the village after the Kyuubi was dealt with, said Tsunade, her voice rising with each word. We are not here to quarrel. Danzo's heavy voice cut in sharply. Just tell us how this is possible. We knew of every Uzumaki in this village. They were all accounted for. Where did this one come from? As far as I remember, the clan met its end with the Kyuubi. Each and every one died defending Konoha. Danzo, I have taken that into account. As you know, Jiraiya had taken the boy out of this village as an apprentice, and he grew up with Jiraiya. If you want to know more, ask the pervert. For now, all I know is that this boy could have been an illegitimate child, or he could have been off the records because he was born on the day that the Kyuubi attacked. Even Sarutobi-sensei knew more about the boy than I did, and it was his decision that Jiraiya apprentice him. Are you questioning the Sandaime Hokage's judgment? Tsunade knew full well that when Sarutobi-sensei's name came into an argument, it worked like an ace against the council. He was the only man that the council seemed to respect, and even Danzo did not dare say anything when the Sandaime Hokage's name came into account. Tsunade did not know the reason behind such respect, but she knew Hiruzen Sarutobi was one of the founding members of the Council of Konoha. Yes, this file was created by him, observed Koharu before snapping it close. I did not know Jiraiya had taken an apprentice. Maybe the Sannin of Konoha will rise again. What do you say, Tsunade? Asked Koharu in an almost playful tone, not seeing the hardness that came upon the Godaime Hokage's visage. If that is your way of asking whether we will allow that traitor Uchiha back into this village, then my answer remains the same. He will be able to join the ranks of Konoha shinobi only if he confesses and tells my ANBU everything that we need to know. Understood? Said Tsunade in even tones that showed her barely contained anger. The matter that we came to resolve is still at hand. What do we do with the boy? Again Danzo's voice cut in. The man had an uncanny observation skill. What about him? I told you all I know. The rest you have to ask from Jiraiya, said Tsunade, trying to sound as nonchalant and uncaring as possible. Do not lie to us, Hokage. This way you lose our trust and the power behind your position. Tell us the truth, lest we find it out ourselves, said the old war hawk in the same tone. Danzo knows something, thought Tsunade, thinking furiously for a good counter to the accusation. He is only this adamant when he has found evidence that I am lying, or he knows the full truth but only wants to humiliate me in front of the whole council by revealing it himself. She could not come up with anything useful, so she tried to buy some time. Danzo, I would ask you to be more careful before accusing me. I am still your Hokage, and as a result your superior. Danzo acknowledged her claim with a nod, but he was not done with his side of the argument. I understand your position well enough, Tsunade, yet the dispute over this boy has only become more doubtful than before. Hiruzen had asked me to keep an eye on the last survivors of the Whirlpool country, and I had followed his orders by keeping close watch on all of them. The route reported that the people who had accompanied Kushina Uzumaki were aloof and mostly kept to themselves. The only person who could have delivered a baby on the night of the Kyuubi attack was Kushina herself, but Hiruzen told us that the young Namikaze died before seeing the light of the day. So where did this boy come from? The old war hawk's words made perfect sense. There was no way that Tsunade could dispute that, and she desperately tried to look for a way out. Understanding started to dawn in Hamura and Koharu's eyes. Suddenly Koharu's head shot up, and she looked at Tsunade with a dark twinkle in her eyes. Tell me, Tsunade, how does a rookie ninja get the position of a Tokubetsu Jounin right from the start? He should have started as a genin, should he have not? Koharu Udatain, are you really as stupid as you look? Do you think that a boy trained by Jiraiya and the sages of Mount Myaboku will actually be on the level of a genin? If you have to know, I tested him against one of the best Jounins from his graduating class, and he made that Jounin forfeit in less than 5 minutes. What more proof do you need of his capabilities? Koharu could not withstand that the vain slug princess dared to insult her in front of her colleagues. Who did she think she was? You dare to mock me? Shouted Koharu, rising to her feet in rage. Your ignorance is unbelievable, replied Tsunade coolly without leaving her seat. Tsunade watched on amusedly, thinking, this was their council made up of fools and ignorant old civilians. Whose stupid idea was it to make these people the head of a village? Danzo had had enough of Koharu's bantering. Sit down, Koharu, you should not have meddled in something that you do not know of, said Danzo, his voice so cold that it instantly made Koharu shut her mouth and obey the command. Of course the boy was strong, thought Danzo. Every shinobi trained by Jiraiya had turned out to be exceptionally skilled and talented, and Minato Namikaze was a shining example. If this boy, Naruto, was anything like Minato, then it suddenly struck Danzo like a hammer to the gut. How could he have missed the resemblance? Naruto's profile showed the boy's face well enough. He had his father's fair blonde hair and stunning electric blue eyes. His deduction had been on the mark, so Kushina had given birth to boy that day. Minato's legacy lives after all. For some unknown reason, this thought gave him a feeling, an alien feeling, something that he had not felt in a long time. He quickly buried it, just as he buried everything that came in the way of his ambition for power. We are done here. I will be sure to ask Jiraiya about any other information that I need. Koharu, Hamura, we still have other matters to attend to at the Hyuga estate. Thank you for your time, Tsunade. With that, the old war hawk limped out of her office, followed by the 2 old cronies. Tsunade sat at her desk, completely stunned and dumbstruck. Did Danzo just show her respect? Did the sun rise from the west today? Either I am going mad or my mind is playing tricks on me. I really need a drink now, mumbled Tsunade to herself as she pulled out a bottle of sake and a cup. With Naruto. Naruto had been waiting for Kakashi for a while now. What was taking the man so long? He looked at Temari and then at Sakura. None of them seemed to be dealing with his dilemma of why their team captain was late. Hey, do you guys know what is taking our captain so long to get here? He asked uncertainly, oblivious to the fact that the shinobis from his graduating class had grown quite used to Kakashi's usual tardiness. Oh yeah, he is not that late. I mean only 15 minutes, he will be here in no time, answered Sakura absent-mindedly. He did not get to ponder on Sakura's words as Kakashi's chakra signature entered his range. Finally, they could get a move on. Kakashi landed in front of Naruto as a blur, before taking the solid form of a tall, silver-haired cyclops. Yo, sorry I took so long. You see, I tripped down the stairs on my way here, he said with his unique eye smile. Naruto looked at him incredulously while Sakura and Temari both sighed. Kakashi, I am tired of your excuses. Let us get moving, my brothers are waiting, said Temari in a voice that meant, get yours moving or we're dead. Yes, of course. I will take the lead with the ambassador right behind me. Sakura, you will keep an eye on the surroundings as you will be directly behind the ambassador. Naruto, you will be in the rear, so keep an eye on our trail. I don't want mercenary ninjas ambushing us from behind. I trust you can do what I have asked. Yes, I can. There will be no ambush from behind, replied Naruto. He appeared to be very calm on the outside, but inside he was a raging bull. What does the Cyclops think of me as a baby with no experience? I have been on more espionage and assassination missions than any Chunin here. Assassination missions were missions where they were the ambushers and failure was not an option. Jiraiya had taken great care in explaining Naruto that assassination missions were missions that were given to shinobi of the highest caliber. These missions were there to ensure that something did not happen, and if the ninja was caught, he would have to kill himself. Interrogation of assassin ninjas were worse than death. Very well then, let's go. With that, all four of them sushined out of the village and into the forest. As soon as they entered the forest, all four of them took to the treetops, so that anybody following them would have a hard time trying to monitor their movement or see them. Kakashi set a steady pace that required everybody to move but was not demandingly high. At this rate, they would make Sunagakure by morning the next day, if they took a break only during the night. The rest of the journey was quite uneventful and the atmosphere in the group was heavy with anxiety. Tamari was worried for her younger brother. If the Akatsuki succeeded in extracting the soul of the Shikaku from Gaara, then he would surely die. Sakura was worried, not because she was close to Gaara but because she knew what Gaara was to Konoha. Konoha was the strongest among all the shinobi villages prior to the Chunin exams when Konoha was attacked by Orochimaru and his forces and they lost the Sandaime Hokage. During the period of weakness, Gaara had convinced his village to form an alliance with Konoha, or else Konoha would have surely been invaded by some other village because many village leaders were jealous of Konoha's prosperity and strength. Kakashi was also worried for similar reasons. Gaara was the only link that Konoha had that tied Suna and Konoha to the alliance. Without Gaara as the Kazekage, old rivalries would rise and Suna might as well attack Konoha because during the invasion many Suna ninjas had lost their lives too and their previous Kazekage. Naruto, on the other hand, was worried but for quite different reasons. He considered Gaara to be a brother born of the kinship and the burden that they both shared and the hardships they both had to face because of this burden. Gaara, unlike Naruto, had grown up in his own village and had to endure the hatred that the villagers possessed for the Shikaku. Few people realized the big difference between people and the soul of the beast they possessed. Every Jinchuriki was a human, they just contained the beast because their body and mind was the best suited to be a Jinchuriki. Civilians thought that the Jinchurikis were the beast themselves and sought to end the ninja's life while they were young, and shinobis wanted to kill this Jinchuriki because they had lost their friends and family at the hand of the beast. Naruto understood the guy's anger and selfishness because Gaara, when he became powerful enough, had become a survivor. Anything that he considered a threat to his life or his mental state, he killed. People of Suna had naturally started to ignore the young boy because he was just too much to deal with and Gaara had become an outcast, slowly becoming the beast that he possessed. When Naruto had found Gaara, he had realized that the only thing that could save Gaara were bonds. Bonds with other humans were the only thing that could reawaken the humanity that resided deep inside his soul. Realizing this, Naruto sought to do exactly that. He tried his best to become Gaara's friend, even though Gaara beat him and humiliated him, sometime had even put him in the Suna prison for being a nuisance to the Kazekage's son. Yet, in the end Gaara felt the curiosity to ask Naruto why he would not give up and Naruto had told him that because he was a Jinchuriki too. This had caused Gaara to slowly open up to Naruto, and when he felt he could take down more of his barriers, he forged more bonds with his siblings and then the people of the village. During Naruto's 8-month stay in Suna, he had realized that without his bonds with Jiraiya, Tsunade, and his close friends in other villages as well as his masters in Mount Myaboku, would he have turned out to be the same as Gaara? Very likely, and for that reason his respect for the Sandaime Hokage, Jiraiya, the Godaime Hokage, and all the people who appreciated him even after knowing the full truth about him only increased. Sunagakure appeared in the horizon to the group just a little after dawn, and they picked up their pace to finally reach their destination. As soon as they landed at the gates, the group realized that the village had gone into high-level alert. All the shops were closed, the streets empty. Everybody had taken refuge in the tunnels under the village. The Suna ninjas checked their papers before quickly taking them to the hospital where Sakura could begin her work on Kankuro. As Naruto and Kakashi were waiting in the hospital, an elder came into the room. She looked like she would drop from lack of strength any minute, and then she looked at Kakashi and her eyes lit up with surprise that quickly turned to anger. "The White Fang of Konoha!" she shouted before charging and attacking Kakashi. The copy ninja was so surprised with the sudden charge that he had not time to react. Fortunately for him, Naruto was there, and the next second the elder found herself lying on one of the futons in the waiting room of the hospital. The elder slowly got up before she looked around and her eyes landed on Naruto. "Was that you, boy? That stopped me from having at it from him?" she asked, pointing a finger at Kakashi. "Yes. Why did you attack the captain of our squad without any cause?" asked Naruto. He was debating whether he had stepped out of line by trying to contain the situation. Attacking important people from foreign villages could have serious consequences. Naruto knew this from personal experience. "It is quite all right, Naruto. I can understand her anger at this white fang that she thought must be me," said Kakashi, holding up his hand to stall any forthcoming argument. "Excuse me, madam, but you must be mistaken. I am not Tsukumo Hatake, the man that killed more than his share of Sunigakure ninjas during the Third Shinobi World War. I am his son, Kakashi Hatake. I am here to help Suna in any manner with rescuing the Kazekage from the Akatsuki." Kakashi sounded like he was used to this kind of mistakes. After all, the white fang was called so because of the unique silver hair. "Oh, I am so sorry for the mistake. I apologize for the unforgivable behavior. Tell me how the slug Sannin is doing. I believe that she has taken her grandfather's position in Konoha." There was a smirk already forming on her face. Everybody knew how much Tsunade hated that name. She looked at Naruto again, and seemed to see something that she had previously missed. "Boy, what is your name? Have we perhaps met before?" asked Chiyo in a thoughtful voice. "I am absolutely sure that I have not met you before. My name is Naruto Uzumaki," replied Naruto. He would definitely remember someone like this old council member, from any village. "Hey, I see you have already met your newest team member. This our puppet expert honored grandmother Chiyo. She was chosen because the wooden poison injector that we found on Kankuro identified the attacker as Sasori of the Sand. Chiyo-sama knows a lot about Sasori. Therefore, on your mission to rescue the Kazekage, she will accompany you instead of me. I have to go meet with Baki, so I will see you guys later," said Temari, coming out of Kankuro's room. Her good mood must mean that Sakura has succeeded in saving Kankuro's life. She must be a really talented combat medic. Bachan did say that Sakura was the only one other than herself and Shizen-chan that could save Kankuro's life. Thought Naruto when he saw Sakura coming out of the room wiping his hands in a towel. "Congratulations, Sakura. I take it that your operation was successful?" said Naruto, already knowing the answer to his question. "Oh, thank you, Naruto. Yes, Kankuro is out of danger. All he has to do now is rest for a few days and he will be fine. I have taken the blueprints of the poison. I will make a few vials of antidote for all of us right away. I think Temari said that we will be leaving to look for Gaara in a few hours, so I guess we should get ready," said Sakura as she threw away the towel and took out a little sealed test tube with a purple liquid inside. "Do you know where I can find a processing lab? I need to work on this poison?" she asked to one of the passing nurses, who nodded and led her away. "Kakashi-sensei, where are we staying? I think I need to clean up after traveling in all this heat?" asked Naruto, turning to see Kakashi hoisting his pack back onto his shoulder. "Yes, Naruto, Temari has given us accommodation in the Kazekage's mansion itself. Let's go. I need a few supplies for the mission, so I need to get going as well." With that, both Naruto and Kakashi sushined out of the hospital, towards the Kazekage's residence. As they neared the mansion, Naruto noticed that it had changed a lot since his last visit to the place. The mansion itself has remained the same, but the area around it was different. Before, it just sat on a large patch of sand. Not it sat in a small oasis. There were flowers and palm trees surrounding the house with a small fountain in the front and a large pool at the back. He had to give it to Gaara. The man knew how to live in luxury. Several hours later, Naruto, Kakashi, Sakura, and Chiyo were standing at the gates of Sunigakure with Temari, Baki, and several other ninjas of Suna. "I don't think I need to say anything other than best of luck. I know you guys will try your best to get my brother to safety," Temari said, mostly looking at Naruto. "Temari, Gaara knows me better than most people who know me, and I consider him to be my brother. There is nothing that will stop me from trying my best. You know that once I have set my mind to something, I do not give up," said Naruto, giving his trademark smile while rubbing the back of his head. "Good luck, Team 7. From what I have seen of you people, I can rest assured that I am putting the Kazekage's safety into the best and most capable hands." Good luck. From what I have seen of Sasori, you will need it. The last of our scouts retuned, reporting that the Kazakage was taken into the marsh area directly southeast of here at the border of the desert. In my estimation, that is around 7 miles from here. Baki was holding a crude hand-drawn map by the captain of the scouting squad that was sent after 2 fleeing Akatsuki members. Kakashi took the map and folded it before putting it inside his vest. Team 7, move out, ordered Kakashi as he took the lead, followed closely by Chiyo, Sakura, and the Naruto at the rear again. Why do I always get the rear end of the line? Whined Naruto as they moved towards the southeast borders of Sunagakure. For blurs moved through the sand as they neared the border of the desert. It was getting darker as night started to fall, and Kakashi held his hand out to stop his team. I have located the marshes with the Sharingan. It is 2 miles ahead. There are also rocky patches among the marshes, huge caves and boulders. I am guessing that Gaara is held in one of those caves. Remember the plan: as soon as we get Gaara, we get out. We are not to confront the Akatsuki unless absolutely necessary. Understood? Said Kakashi as he looked at each member of his team. Why not confront them? There are only 2 of them and 4 of us. Statistically, we can take them down and capture them. Then we can interrogate them to find out more about the Akatsuki and why they are after the Bijus, asked Naruto. Nobody could tell in the dark, and Kakashi had already covered up his Sharingan. But Naruto's eyes were red. He was using the Kyuubi's enhanced visions to see more clearly so that they did not get ambushed. Yes, statistically you are right, Naruto, but it does not apply to these ninjas because they are top-class shinobis. We have no idea what their skills are, and we do not want to endanger Gaara's life by fighting the Akatsuki instead of getting him out of there and back in Suna. Secondly, I believe that we are not ready to take on 2 dangerous criminals all by ourselves, replied Kakashi, though he knew Naruto did not believe him. Can I talk to you alone for a moment? Asked Naruto, and with a nod Naruto and Kakashi moved out of Sakura's and Chiyo's earshot. What do you want to talk about? Asked Kakashi. Have you really not noticed? Or are you pretending to keep us in false security? Asked Naruto. As far as he was concerned, they were not truly alone. Damn, I got caught, thought Kakashi before asking, how much can you sense? 2, not as strong as I thought they would be. 1 is much more like an aquatic organism and has a little bit higher chakra reserves than the other. Both are moving towards our location at a very low pace, and they are a little less than a mile away from us, replied Naruto. He could see the silhouettes of 2 figures moving towards them, but they were taking their sweet time. Wow, he has better chakra sensing abilities than me, thought Kakashi. How can you tell how far they are, Naruto? I can see them. How? You do not have a bloodline limit, nor do you have transplanted eyes. I have got the Kyuubi, as you already know. Using his eyes, I can see more than normal sight, and his eyes have an effect. If you look at me directly for a few seconds, I can put a little Kyuubi chakra into my eyes and you will be paralyzed by fear for a few hours unless you have your own ocular powers. It is just that the Kyuubi has certain qualities that make him more unique than any other tailed beasts. Naruto replied, shocking Kakashi a little bit. Well, I think we should still stick to the plan because Jiraiya-sama said that he does not want you to face the Akatsuki yet, and you are my responsibility until this mission is over. We get Gaara and get out, unless we are forced to face them, Kakashi said, as he took his mask down to look at the pursuers that Naruto mentioned. These are not the ones that kidnapped Gaara, said Naruto. What? How do you know, and who are these then? Asked Kakashi, again surprised by Naruto's level of intuition and deduction. These are back up so that the other 2 can get Gaara out and take him to the main stronghold, or delay us for some reason. I found traces of chakra all over the village. These 2 are a little weaker than the ones that kidnapped Gaara, said Naruto, getting back to thinking why the Akatsuki had back up in the first place. I see, said Kakashi. Well, that means that we have to take these 2 out, fast and before dawn. Yes, let's go tell Sakura and Chiyo-sama to get ready for the Akatsuki, said Naruto before sushioning back to the spot where Sakura and Chiyo were waiting. There are 2 Akatsuki coming at us from there, said Naruto, pointing in the general direction where he had seen them. We have to take these 2 down and before dawn. Get ready, Naruto said to both Sakura and Chiyo. Crap, that means these 2 are not the ones that kidnapped the Kazakage? asked Sakura as she put her gloves on and got her medical kit ready for immediate use. Humph, these younglings are eager for a fight. Maybe I should just let my puppets do the fighting, said Chio, and she opened a scroll and summoned 2 of her puppets. Sakura, stay close to Chio-sama. I will attack the shorter one to distract him. You 3 take the swordsman down as fast as possible, said Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, be careful, the shorter one is an Uchiha, Naruto said, shocking both Kakashi and Sakura. Naruto remembered Fukasaku's training against an Uchiha. Do not look in the eyes and always keep an outlet to make sure one can break out of a genjutsu. Naruto quickly made a shadow clone and it disappeared into the darkness. Everybody ready? Asked Kakashi, whispering. When the other 3 nodded, he pulled up his Hitai 8, revealing the Sharingan, and said, "Go!" As if on cue, the 2 Akatsuki came in their view and stopped. As soon as the 2 Akatsuki stopped, Kakashi was on them. They did not have time to react as Kakashi kicked the shorter of the 2, square on the chest, and then attacking him with taijutsu, solely intent on taking the fight away from his comrades. Kisame turned to attack but came face to face with 2 puppets, completely armed and ready. Kisame snarled before jumping back, only to see an oncoming fist. He pulled Samahata in front of him, blocking the punch, but miscalculated the amount of force behind the punch. Sakura's fist connected with tremendous crash and sent Kisame flying. Naruto was on Kisame in an instant, Rasengan at the ready. He drove his Rasengan into Samahata, driving Kisame into the ground and creating a small crater. "Damn, you ninjas don't give a break, do you?" said Kisame, as he coughed some blood but climbed out of the crater and scathed. "I guess I have to go full out," he murmured before pulling the wrapping away from Samahata. "So you are the famous swordsman Kisame, and that is the fabled Samahata? Boy, I thought that it would look better than a dead fish," said Naruto in a mocking voice, clearly trying to enrage the swordsman. He had confronted only one swordsman of the mist in his life before Zabuza Momochi, and insulting a swordsman's sword really tended to make them angry. "Yeah, me too when I first saw it up close, but then seeing as how the sword's shape is really useful in battle, I was satisfied." Kisame grinned as he said that before charging at Sakura. It did not work because he got body tackled by one of Chio's puppets from his blind side. Sakura did not get attacked, but Samahata crashed down on the puppet's head and completely obliterated it. Naruto was on the move. He quickly pulled out 10 shurikens and threw them before doing the shadow shuriken technique. The 10 multiplied to 100 and fell on Kisame in a spiral, almost forming a dome around him. Naruto was not done. He quickly made 2 shadow clones and attacked Kisame with first-class, coordinated taijutsu. All Kisame could do was defend himself. That shuriken technique had taken him by a surprise. Not many ninjas appreciated the art of weapons anymore, and that shuriken technique was one of the oldest techniques in the book made to incapacitate an opponent. "Hey brat!" shouted Kisame. "Who the hell are you? How come I have not seen you in any bingo books before? I do not like to advertise my existence." Naruto shot back at Kisame, as he came at Kisame again with his clones. "Smart kid," thought Kisame before doing a few quick hand seals, and a dragon rose right from the mud and attacked one of Naruto's clones. The clone vanished in a puff, giving Naruto time to attack. He also did a few quick hand seals, and the mud dragon was cut in half by a wind blade. Just as Naruto was about to attack Kisame with his clones, a mud dome rose from the ground and trapped Kisame from neck to toe. Naruto looked around to see Sakura, holding the ram seal. Her brows were furrowed, and she was pumping a lot of chakra to keep the jutsu going. "Take him out fast, Naruto. I can't hold him for long," Sakura said. She was already breathing a little hard. Beads of sweat was forming on her forehead. It didn't take much convincing. Naruto formed a Rasengan with extra density, then a normal Rasengan, and shoved it into Kisame's head. Sakura's knees buckled and she slid to the ground, breathing hard. As the mud that covered Kisame's body disappeared, Naruto saw a shift, like a genjutsu disappearing. Suddenly, the features of the body changed and it turned from scaly blue to normal human skin. There wasn't anything left of the head, but Naruto was sure that the face, if it was still intact, would have also shown a different person and not Kisame. "Damn, I should have known this would happen. Kisame is one of the strongest members of the Akatsuki. Naruto had fought another Akatsuki named Zetsu before, and it had turned out to be a fake also, though it was more like a really sturdy clone than anything. Naruto looked towards the direction where Kakashi was standing facing off against Itachi. Both stood stock, still not moving a muscle. It looked like they were having a stare battle, as none of them were blinking. Naruto, do not distract Kakashi-sensei. He had this fight before, and he was in the hospital for more than a month because he lost to Itachi. This time he has come prepared. I think we should trust him, Sakura said as she came to stand beside Naruto, also looking at the two combatants. Sakura, he was beaten by the real Itachi. This one is a fake, said Naruto, putting emphasis on the word real as he pointed to the body that once resembled Kisame. Sakura gasped, before looking back at Kakashi with concern. We have to warn him. I think I can break him out of the Genjutsu. Can you distract that other man? Asked Sakura. She was already gathering her chakra to pull Kakashi out. Yes, I think I can keep him long enough for you to inform Kakashi of the situation. Go. As soon as I attack Itachi. Ready? Sakura nodded. Naruto charged at Itachi and, as he was taught by Jiraiya, instead of looking at his eyes, he stared at his body, mainly Itachi's legs. Naruto vaulted over Kakashi and did a spike kick, driving his heel into Itachi's shoulder bone as hard as possible. Itachi fell, clutching his left shoulder, and he heard movement behind, alerting him that Sakura had pulled Kakashi out of the Genjutsu battle. Not looking around, Naruto attacked him, and was answered with well-coordinated counters to all the taijutsu combinations that he threw at Itachi. Are you a student of the Jounin named Might Guy? It seems you are using his form, not looking at the opponent's face but his body and legs to predict his movements and attacks. A very impressive form against people with ocular powers, I might add. Itachi was quietly contemplating as to who this blonde teen was. When he had visited Konoha before to check whether they had a Jinchuriki at all, he had not sensed demonic chakra in anybody. Yet this boy was wearing a Konoha headband, and Jinchurikis were not allowed to change their villages, so who exactly is this boy and where was he all this time? No, I am not Might Guy's student. I was taught in the way of shinobis by Jiraiya of the Sannin, Naruto replied. He had read Itachi's chakra signature. It was a clone that could endure a lot of hits and that could relay its information to the user instantly, not after it is destroyed. Oh, I see, so you traveled with him and did not stay in Konoha like the rest of the teens your age? He asked. If Jiraiya had taken an apprentice, then the council, especially Danzo, would have known about it. Why wasn't he informed, or could it be that Danzo did not know about this boy at all? It just made the Akatsuki's job a lot easier if Konoha did not even know that they had a Jinchuriki. Before Naruto could answer, Kakashi intervened. I take it that you are an imposter, or a clone but not the real Itachi? Kakashi stated, more than asked, as he came up to stand beside Naruto. Yes, as always your deduction is accurate. In fact, I was surprised that you did not realize that when you first attacked me with your Sharingan, said Itachi. It seems I have done all that was required of me. As soon as Itachi finished his statement, his body split into several ravens. Well then, since that is done with, let us resume our search for the young Kazekage, said Chio, reminding everybody why they were here in the first place. Yes. Let's go, agreed Kakashi as they all started to move in the direction where they had sensed the two Akatsuki members before. Naruto, I want you to use your chakra sensor and sense how many human chakra signatures there are in the vicinity, said Kakashi. He had only sensed 2 chakra signatures. Naruto nodded and widened his search as far as he could. He located the 2 Akatsuki members just a few miles ahead and 4 more rapidly moving from the direction of Suna directly towards their location. It would at least take the 4 new people an hour to get here. I sense 6, said Naruto. Kakashi was not as surprised as Sakura, who spun around. Are you sure, Naruto? If there are 5 Akatsuki members with Gaara, then this mission is a failure already. Sakura was certain that 2 Akatsuki members were enough, but taking down 5 criminals of S-rank ninjas required a battalion of soldiers. No, there are only 2 Akatsuki. The 4 that I sensed earlier are Might Guy and his team, replied Naruto. Maybe this mission will not be as difficult as he thought it could be. And what of the Kazekage boy? Did you not sense him at all? Asked Chio, making Naruto realize that he had not sensed a chakra pulse from Gaara at all. That could only mean that either Gaara was suppressing it or he was dead. "Shit!" shouted Naruto before putting more chakra into his legs, and with a burst of speed started moving towards the base where he had sensed the two Akatsuki members before. "Wait, Naruto. Damn, he is not going to listen? Sakura, stay with Chio and follow us in exactly 15 minutes. I am going in after Naruto," said Kakashi before rushing after the blonde. Darn, how could I have been so dumb? I feel like a total idiot. I should have noticed that Gaara had no pulse. Did these bastards kill him? Thought Naruto as he moved towards his target as fast as possible. He stole a glance behind him only to see a silver-haired Cyclops following him. Okay, so they have not abandoned me. Good, I don't think I am ready to take these guys out alone. Okay, Erosanin said that without the experience I was as strong as any ANBU squad captain. So with Kakashi I think we should be able to take down the two Akatsuki, even though they are the real deal. Naruto landed in front of a tunnel that snaked its way into a very mountain. Kakashi landed beside Naruto a few moments later. "Naruto, what were you thinking charging in like that? Do not let your emotions cloud your judgment," Kakashi admonished Naruto. Even though he was whispering, it was clear that he was unhappy with Naruto's rash decision to move in by himself. "Don't worry, Kakashi-sensei. I have a plan, so hear me out," said Naruto as he explained what he thought they could do get the Akatsukis. "You know as well as I do that these ninjas are S-class, and we also know exactly how strong S-class ninjas are. They are not invincible. As far as I know about you, you are an S-ranked shinobi yourself, so my plan is to charge in and create a distraction. Then you can go in and take out at least one of them as fast as possible, and then we can take the second member easily. I assume that you have given Sakura and Chiyo-sama a little bit of time before they join us." After Kakashi nodded, Naruto dispelled the clone that he had created before his fight with Kisame and created a new one. This clone quickly disappeared, moving in as silently as possible. "Ah, shadow clone. Very clever but quite ineffective. If they find your clone, then they know that you are at least close to them," said Kakashi, as he tried to think why in the world he never used shadow clones for scouting. It was simple but very effective method. "While they know I am close, I know exactly where they are, and it is still better than trying to scout by yourself and getting caught," said Naruto as he quickly checked his pouch to see how many shurikens, kunais, and explosive tags he had. As they waited for Naruto's clone to return, they were joined by Sakura and Chio. "Why are you guys just sitting here? I thought we were going to attack and get Gaara?" asked Sakura. "Yeah, that was the idea, but Naruto here preferred a little scouting, which, in my opinion, was a smart move. If we know the enemy's location, we can formulate a strategy to take them down quickly," Kakashi said, sounding a little proud of Naruto, even though technically Naruto was still not his student. "Oh, but he is not really scouting, he is just relaxing," said Sakura, sounding a little lost when Kakashi said that Naruto wanted to do a little scouting. "No, he is relaxing because his clone is doing the scouting," Kakashi said. He also wanted to relax, but Sakura's questions was interrupting him constantly. "Guys, my clone just killed itself. The two Akatsuki members are just waiting right now. It seems like they knew we were going to be coming after them. Gaara is at the corner of the cave and is being guarded by what looked like a big clay dragon. Are you guys ready?" "Yes, as long as you do not interfere in my fight," said Chio, as if she had already decided to fight no matter what the situation was. "Who are you going to fight?" asked Naruto. He was always interested when old people wanted to fight. It usually meant that the fight was going to be long and usually were strong fighters with awesome jutsus. "I will fight Sasori," said Chio, who was also her student and grandson. "Okay, we will take care of the other guy. He looks like he works under Sasori, so he is the weaker of the two," deducted Naruto. "So how do you plan to attack?" asked Sakura. She was not a tactical or strategic shinobi. She needed a plan that she could follow to use her medical skills effectively when needed. "Naruto is going to use his speed to enter and hide, and use stealth to attack the second Akatsuki member. Chiyo-sama and I will enter and face them, while Sakura, stay behind us, and cover us if needed." Kakashi knew this plan worked quite well with all the former members of Team 7. Naruto was not a member, but he hoped that Jiraiya-sama had taught him the importance of teamwork. "Okay, go," Naruto vanished, as soon as Kakashi's last syllable left his mouth, surprising Chio again. "Is that the yellow flash of Konoha?" she asked a little hesitantly because she thought he would be older than a teen. "No," said Kakashi immediately. He did not want to talk about Naruto's past. Not with the Akatsuki so close. "I think we better move in." Kakashi, Chio, and Sakura walked in what appeared to be a cavern. There was a little stream running at the side and the two Akatsuki members were seated, and one looked like he was bored out of his mind. "All right, which one of you wants to experience my art, Chunin?" asked the blonde Akatsuki as he stood up. The other Akatsuki was hunched over and had what appeared to be a tail, but it was made of steel. Chio quickly laid down her scroll, did a few hand signs, and with a puff of smoke there were 10 battle-ready puppets in front of them. "Sasori, what are you waiting for?" asked Chio. Her eyes narrowed, and an immense amount of killing intent was flowing out of her. "Deidara, move back," said a raspy voice as Sasori moved forward. Chio motioned with her hand and all the puppets attacked at once. As soon as the puppets attacked, Naruto attacked the other member of the Akatsuki. He appeared behind the Akatsuki and punched him, yet it was the force behind the punch that surprised everyone. Deidara flew almost 50 feet before crashing into a wall that formed a little crater where he crashed. When he turned around, he was a little amused to see the jaws of Sakura and Kakashi on the floor. Kakashi recovered when he saw the red hue that surrounded Naruto's golden eyes. Sage mode, and no morphing, he must have mastered it completely. Kakashi thought but quickly pushed down his urge to ask and moved his headband to reveal his Sharingan. Naruto noticed that unlike the regular Sharingans, Kakashi's did not have tomes anymore. Instead it appeared like a three-sided shuriken, where each edge had a protruding angle that curved and connected with the end of the edge of the following side. Just look up Kakashi's Manjikyu. More talented than I thought. He mastered the Manjikyu Sharingan without being an Uchiha. I did not think that was possible. He mused as he slowly stalked towards the body that had crashed into the wall. He had sensed a chakra spike just before his punch connected. Naruto has long since learned to never underestimate an opponent. Even the weakest of them could pull out unbelievable feats when facing a stronger or an overconfident opponent. He suddenly stopped as he realized that there was a chakra signature to his left and snapped his head there to see the blonde-haired Akatsuki member hanging upside down from the ceiling in the farthest corner of the cavern. He gave Naruto a lopsided grin, but his eyes seemed to search Naruto's face for something. "Hey boy, you look like you are not even out of your teens, but the techniques you use are quite dandy. Are you also an avid believer of art HNN?" he asked. For some reason this young boy showed potential and experience well beyond his age. If Deidara had to guess, this power could be coming from a Jinchuriki. But he also knew shinobis like Itachi, and their intellect and tactical use of jutsus made even Jinchurikis look like baby wannabes. Maybe this blonde was another example of genius prodigy, or some clan that granted him the strength and power that the boy seemed to have, and the jutsus he used seemed like Kekkei Genkai because he hadn't seen anybody else move with such speed and hit with so much power. Naruto returned the lopsided grin with his trademark foxy smile, but said in a cold and indifferent voice, "In battle, there is no such thing as art or beauty. If you find your explosions and fireworks are a work of art, then I suggest you get some medical help because they are just what they are, a tool to end life. As for a believer of art, yes, but for me art is something that makes life more peaceful, aesthetic, so shut your crap about art before I shut it for you." As Naruto finished his speech, Deidara's face took on a look of disdain, which then turned to anger when Naruto threatened him. Nobody insulted the great artist Deidara and got away with it. And with that thought Deidara moved his hands forwards in a thrusting motion and out came several fist-sized spiders. They were all made of clay. "Take this, you insolent fool. Today you will meet your doom in the form of my magnificent art of destruction," screamed Deidara in glee as he was about to see the end of another genius who was too proud of himself and his luck-begotten genes to appreciate the beauty his art. His delight did not last long as Naruto put his hands together in the form of a tiger seal. For a brief second nothing happened, but then, the wind in the cavern began to shift and change. The temperature rose at least 10 degrees and it seemed like all the air in the cavern was being sucked by a huge vacuum cleaner. When Sakura looked at Naruto, she realized it was Naruto who was doing all this. but was confused when she saw strange symbols and markings were coming out of Naruto's arms, like a 3D projection. Neither Sakura nor Chio had seen anything like this before. Deidara and Sasori also stood frozen, just as baffled by his display of awe-inspiring power over nature. It was only Kakashi who had a faint inkling of what might be going on, but he could not be sure as he had never seen Fuinjutsu of this caliber at work before. In fact, Kakashi was not even sure this was Fuinjutsu. He had no idea that Fuinjutsu could be used in this way at all. It was only that he recognized some of the markings that were coming off Naruto's arms. If my line of thinking is correct, then this type of Fuinjutsu is much more complex and of much higher level than what I am or even Jiraiya-sama is capable of. What is this kid capable of? Thought Kakashi as the air that seemed to be sucked in actually formed a fierce vortex that surrounded Naruto, and even though it looked like the vortex was very strong, it was under Naruto's complete control as it only moved in a perfect circular trajectory around Naruto and disappeared once it had cut the clay spiders into dust, rendering them useless. Throughout this whole time Naruto was constantly glaring at Deidara, and his hand formed a medium-sized Rasengan, but it was purple in color. Kakashi's Sharingan showed him that the Rasengan was far denser than a regular Rasengan. Hence the change in color form light blue to purple. In his other palm, it appeared that Naruto was holding a circular sphere but made only of air. "Surrender now, or else you will feel the edge of my chakra," said Naruto in an eerily quiet tone. But there was no argument that it held barely contained fury that could come flooding in at any moment. Sasori knew that this lad was not to be messed with, and that he was well beyond Deidara's ability to take him down. The only option that was left was to flee. So Sasori's tail shot out with as much force he could muster and drove right through the ceiling of the cavern. There was a mini explosion, but as it died down, everybody could see the huge hole that had formed in the middle of the ceiling. Morning sunlight streamed in from the hole. It was probably during the dawn of the next day. "Deidara, we have what we came for. Take the demon binding and go. Do not stop until you have reached the base. I will hold them off for as long as possible. Go now while you still can. The rest of the mission is up to you," said Sasori in his perpetual raspy voice. Deidara had also come to the same conclusion, so he clapped his hands twice. Naruto was confused until he saw the clay dragon that was sleeping at the corner of the cavern rise swiftly and flew towards Deidara with impossible speed. Deidara saluted quickly and jumped on top of the dragon. "I will see you later, boy, and next time I will make sure you feel my art before you meet death," he shouted as the dragon carried him towards the Akatsuki base with speed that no living animal could have achieved. As Naruto saw Gaara's limp body on the floor, his rage seemed to return doubly, newly fueled by Gaara's condition. He turned towards Sasori, and there was murder in his eyes. He simply vanished, and then he was on top of Sasori, driving the purple Rasengan squarely into his back. Much to everyone's astonishment, Sasori began to laugh. There was so much that these simple-minded fools did not know. As the smoke cleared, Naruto saw why Sasori was laughing. There was a huge shield, shaped like a mask that covered Sasori's entire back, and was also the reason why he always stayed in a hunched position. Because of the Rasengan, there was a long crack running perpendicularly across the entire shield. That deadly tail was also an extension of the shield. It started where the shield ended in a curved tip at the base of Sasori's back. As the remains of the Akatsuki robes fell away from his body, everyone was stunned at what they saw. Naruto jumped away from Sasori's back. Kakashi's eyes widened. The body was composed of inorganic materials only. Sakura gasped loudly, and Chio could only look on in sorrow-filled eyes at what atrocity her grandson had turned himself into. "Yes, look at my body, and be afraid, for that is what you should feel when you mere mortals gaze upon my immortal form," rasped out Sasori, his non-living eyes glinting with malice. "Oh my boy, what have you done to yourself?" said Chio, as she looked at her grandson but only saw a puppet, non-living, non-feeling. "What every puppet master should do, and what you were afraid to do. Look at me, look at this perfect form, an immortal form that the human body could never achieve because it is weak and rots away with time. But this body, it will never age, never rot. It will always remain strong and powerful," Sasori proclaimed proudly. Though with his raspy voice it was a miracle he actually proclaimed anything at all. Naruto, on the other hand, was busy scanning the insect-like body to pinpoint the source of the chakra signature that he was feeling coming from Sasori, just as he would from any living person. A quick scan showed him that it was coming from the middle of the chest area where lied a tube that spread the chakra to the rest of the inorganic body via artificial chakra transponders that was set very much like a nervous system through the rest of the body. All he had to do was taking the source and destroy it. The rest will take care of itself. As the shield fell off Sasori's back, Naruto saw a circular outline where the source of Sasori's chakra was coming from. I had warned you not to play with things that you could not understand. I had warned you that changing bodies and exchanging souls from living objects to a puppet could make the sustenance very unstable. I don't have to look to know that you cannot utilize your chakra to its full potential. Can you? Asked Chio with such confidence that the others did not have to look anywhere to verify it to be a fact. With a wave of Chio's hand, all the 10 puppets exploded into action and they all attacked Sasori at once. Take a look at Gaara. See if you can help him. Go, said Naruto as Sakura ran towards Gaara's prone body. All right, I have to get close and take that heart out. That will at least contain him if it doesn't right out kill him, thought Naruto. He saw Kakashi was intently monitoring the fight between Sasori's and Chiyo-sama's 6 remaining puppets. Did you find a hole in his defenses yet? Asked Naruto, hoping that Kakashi's Sharingan eyes had caught some flaw that had missed previously. He couldn't ask Chiyo either. She was having a hard time as it is in fighting Sasori with her puppets. No, his taijutsu is even better than my comrade Might Guy, and the enhanced strength due to his inorganic body allows him to keep going even after sustaining injuries that would fell even the toughest of humans. If we have to take him down, we have to rake him down with something extremely powerful, even stronger than your condensed Rasengan. I don't have anything that is stronger than your Rasengan, but if you do, I and Chiyo-sama can work together to give you a small but clear opening for you to take him down. Kakashi had a feeling that Naruto had a lot more than he was showing, so he decided to give Naruto one more chance to surprise him again. Yes, I have one more attack, but it is really risky. What do you mean by risky? The attack is large enough to bring down this whole cavern. I am not sure that is safe, especially for Gaara. Okay, you prepare the attack. I will talk to Chiyo-sama and Sakura, said Kakashi as he created a copy of himself, and it ran towards Sakura while the original moved towards Chiyo, where she was fighting Sasori with 4 of her remaining puppets. Naruto pushed his hand out, and swirling chakra quickly took the form of a Rasengan. Now came the hard part. His face contorted as he focused all his attention in adding the wind chakra to the swirling mass of regular chakra. Until a year ago he needed clones, but Jiraiya had forced him to try making the Rasengan and the Rasen Shuriken without the aid of clones so that he could reserve his chakra. While it did take a large amount of concentration, it did save quite a bit of chakra that he needed for creating clones. Slowly, the shape of a slowly rotating shuriken formed with the fast-rotating Rasengan at its center. The glow from the Rasen Shuriken filled the cavern. Naruto looked up from the attack to see Sakura vanish into the tunnels with Gaara's body, and Kakashi and Chiyo had also retreated back towards the entrance of the cavern. The only thing that was keeping Sasori from charging right at Naruto was Chiyo's 2 puppets. Go! Naruto shouted as he vanished in a golden flash and appeared in front of Sasori. The Rasen Shuriken was squarely pushed into the circular outline which marked the source of his chakra. The Rasengan disappeared into Sasori's body before expanding from inside outwards and formed a huge dome of immense chakra. From outside Sakura, Kakashi, and Chiyo saw the whole structure that made the cavern came tumbling down on Sasori and Naruto as it could not withstand the force of the attack. Naruto! The wail came out of Sakura before she realized or thought of what she was doing. It was instinctive. At the moment Kakashi and Chiyo were also feeling the same way as they saw their comrade sacrifice his life for Gaara. As Chiyo thought of Gaara, her head snapped towards the ground where the prone body of the young Kazekage was laid, forgotten at the moment because of the recent tragic events. Chiyo recovered quickly and knelt down next to the body, placing her hands over his heart in an attempt to heal the Kazekage, only to realize that he was not breathing. Chiyo looked at the pink-haired medic Nin and put her hand on her forearm, letting her know that her priority was saving the life of the man her friend died for. Sakura nodded and knelt down next to the sand user's body and run a quick diagnostic. Chiyo-sama, he is alive and his breathing is extremely shallow. If we don't get him to a hospital immediately, he will not survive. I am afraid I cannot do anything by myself to help him recover. I need at least another experienced medic to help me in this task. Chiyo nodded before smiling and looking up from Gaara's body. Who do you think taught the Slug Princess some of the advanced medical ninjutsu that she knows? Asked the puppet user with a look of grim amusement on her face. Sakura pushed her sudden flare of anger at the insult of her master down, because right now she needed the assistance of the puppet user to save Gaara's life. How do we propose we do this? Asked Sakura, not knowing the best course to save Gaara's failing life. I want you to keep his heart from failing while I apply my jutsu. Once my jutsu is complete, Kazekage-sama will not need medical assistance anymore, replied Chiyo, which made Sakura wonder what type of technique Chiyo-sama was talking about that will not only bring him back from the jaws of death, but will also make him well enough to not need any more medical help. Sakura nodded her head and placed her hands on Gaara's heart as she applied her jutsu to keep the heart moving, albeit really weakly. Kakashi looked in the horizon and could make out 4 silhouettes. Now, without the Sharingan, Team Guy was finally here. What the hell kept them so long? Kakashi was brought out of thoughts as Pakin ran up to him. Well, my job here is done, Kakashi. I have lead Team Guy to you. I will now take my leave, replied the dog summon, with his ever-present gloomy expression pasted to his face. Kakashi nodded and the summon disappeared in a puff of white smoke. By now Team Guy was close enough for Kakashi to make out the trademark green-colored spandex suits that Mike Guy and his clone of a student, Rock Lee, always wore. Behind them ran the Hyuga prodigy Niji and the weapons mistress Tenten. I am finally here, my eternal rival, came a scream as Guy and his team reached the little group in front of what looked like a collapsed cave. Kakashi-sensei, where is Uzumaki-san? Asked Tenten as she peered at all the people present there. Kakashi sighed and looked down, and a strangled sob broke through Sakura's composure. I see, said Niji as he sat down on one of the boulders that had come free as the cave had collapsed. Are you absolutely sure that he is dead? Asked Niji as he looked at the cave with his Byakugan, as if expecting Naruto to shoot out of the cave any moment. I do not believe that he is dead, came the unexpected reply from the man who was almost dead a few moments ago. Gaara sat up with Sakura's help as Chiyo's frame sank to the ground. As if on cue, there was a sudden trembling that everybody felt coming from the cave. Then the collapsed entrance exploded out and there stood Naruto, panting like he was about to collapse. But instead he came out and dragged the remains of Sasori with him. With the help of Niji and Lee, he dragged the body all the way to the form of Chiyo and laid her grandson in front of her. She croaked out her gratitude as she laid her hand on her grandson's forehead with a content smile as the last breath left her body. Gaara stood up, with the help of Sakura, and walked towards Naruto. Thank you, Naruto, said Gaara, and to everyone's utter shock the young Kazekage's lips parted as he smiled. It was the first time the Konoha ninjas had seen the container of the Shikaku give a genuine smile. Naruto gave his signature smile and rubbed the back of his head. No problem, dude. By the way, this is the second time I had to save your sorry ass now. A cold silence descended as everyone was shocked at the insult that Naruto had thrown on the Kazekage. The second time? I do not recall you having to save me before at all, said Gaara. It was his own way of joking as he knew full well what Naruto meant by having to save him the first time. Whatever, how's the sandball doing? Asked Naruto. He and Gaara both knew the nickname that Naruto had given to one-tailed beast, and he was keeping the secret that Gaara was a Jinchuriki from the people who did not know the secret. Gaara's eyes blanked out as he went into his mindscape to have a conversation with his maniacal prisoner and an unwanted ally, the Shikaku of the sand. Yet when he reached the ceiling inside his mindscape, it was empty, blank, like that part had never existed in his mind ever before. I cannot sense him, said Gaara in a dazed voice, almost unable to believe that the Shikaku was gone. They completed the extraction then, concluded Kakashi. Now the Akatsuki had 2-tailed beasts in their possession. The rumors that they had already gotten the nearby was confirmed when Kumogakure held a memorial day for the sacrifice of Yujito Ni in the service of the village. If Naruto remembered correctly, She was taken out by the second most fearsome duo in the Akatsuki organization, also referred to as the zombie combo, because apparently they were not killable. I think we should be heading back. Suna must be awaiting their Kazekage's return, said Guy as he brought the main issue back to everyone's attention. Yes, but as you can see, Naruto is in no condition to travel, said Sakura. She had already run a preliminary diagnostic of Naruto's condition. He was suffering from several small wounds and a few broken ribs due to the collapse of the cave. If Sakura's chakra reserves were not as low after treating Gaara, she would have no problem treating Naruto. That should be no problem. Gaara's gourd disappeared as the sand inside the gourd and of the gourd formed a very comfortable-looking cushion. Naruto, I believe this is the second time I am helping you too, said Gaara, never breaking his monotonous voice, but there was twinkle of amusement in his eyes. Yash, let us return to Suna and show just how bright our flames of youth truly are, cried Lee as he and his similarly clad sensei started marching back towards the village hidden in the leaves. I do not understand why the Konoha ninjas were so adamant about me not killing him during the Chunin exams, muttered Gaara, much to Naruto's chagrin. 2 days later. The trip back to Suna was quite uneventful, and a little frustrating due to so much talk about flames of youth. Kakashi got so irritated that he told Guy to a taijutsu rematch once they returned back in Konoha if Guy could keep his mouth shut for the rest of the way to Suna. Guy had no choice but to do so because he had been waiting for such an opportunity for nearly 9 years since Kakashi had beaten him in their Chunin finals. Naruto and Gaara were immediately hospitalized, and it was now Kankuro's turn to pester them for being bedridden. Naruto, we have gathered new intelligence on the Akatsuki members, said Gaara once he was alone in their shared hospital room. Naruto's face instantly lost its amusement and became steely. Gaara knew full well of Naruto's past experience with the Akatsuki. The only information that Ero-san's spy network was able to gather is that the zombie combo was unleashed a few months ago, and they are the ones that are primarily on the hunt for the stronger bijus, said Naruto as a thoughtful expression crossed his face and he tapped his chin with his right index finger. Gaara frowned, thinking that the new information that Suna had gathered could prove useful if Konoha decided to take an active step against the criminal organization. According to our new intel, the Akatsuki have placed their sights on the Yanbi, 4 Tails, and the Rokubi, 6 Tails. Both the Jinchurikis reside outside the protection of their own villages. These two will not stand much chance if they were attacked by Haiden and Kakuzu. I think that they will be sending their strongest after the Rokubi because it seems that he has been casing some major problems for the Akatsuki. Gaara's intel as usual was thorough and had proof to prove his points. Gaara never did something that was incomplete. Naruto's interest, though, was piqued by Gaara's last statement. Hold on, Gaara, what kind of problems is the Rokubi making for the Akatsuki? Asked Naruto in an excited voice. Someone else had joined the resistance against the Akatsuki, and the 6-tailed beast's Jinchuriki no less. Well, as per our information, 2 of Akatsuki hideouts were destroyed with threatening notes burned inside the collapsed caves. One of them clearly said that if they tried to hunt any more bijus, the Rokubi will personally come to destroy Akatsuki and all its members, replied Gaara. If his research was anything to go by, the Raiju was a powerhouse. A god of thunder, he was best known for his devastating attacks, and his capabilities for destruction rivaled that of the Kyuubi itself, although the Raiju was known to dislike violence and only resorted to it if it was absolutely necessary. Have you made any attempts to find him? Ero-san had personally tried to find him a few years back, but he could find no trail of the Rokubi, said Naruto. It was the 10-year-old Naruto's brilliant theory that if the Akatsuki had formed an organization to find and kill all the Jinchurikis, then the hosts of the bijus should band together to fight the Akatsuki. It was a very straightforward thinking of a kid, but the idea was a sound one and it had given Jiraiya a pause. What the 10-year-old had said made very much sense. Why had none of the other older and more experienced shinobis had not thought of this? Sure, the Akatsuki was a fearsomely strong and dangerous criminal organization, but if all the Jinchurikis banded together to fight the threat, Jiraiya doubted that Akatsuki could do much to stop them. So to give Naruto's brilliant theory a try, Jiraiya had taken Naruto to meet the only other Jinchuriki that was his own age, Gaara. His plan worked and Naruto was able to turn the Kazekage's youngest psychopathic boy into a friend and pull him out of his depression. Seeing this, Jiraiya had sneaked himself and Naruto into Kumogakure to see if Naruto could form a positive bond with the high-nosed Jinchuriki of the nearby. It took some time, but Naruto and Yujito had formed a sibling-like relationship in a matter of few weeks, and after Yujito met Gaara, their bond only strengthened. Seeing his plan coming along quite well, the white-haired Sannin had tried to have the Hachibi Eight-Tails join the trio, but the Raikage was completely against the idea and would not have his adopted brother mix with shady people Jiraiya of the Sannin. Realizing that arguing with the thick-skulled Raikage would only be a waste of his time, Jiraiya had set out to find the other Jinchurikis and ask them if they wanted to fight the group that was after their lives. He had gone after the Gobi Five-Tails, first seeing that the Sanbai Three-Tails was out of its dead Jinchuriki, and there was no way he was getting inside Iwagakure where the Yanbi resided 5 years ago. Gobi was the logical choice, but the man was completely against the idea. He was so full of his own power and control over the beast within him that he thought that if anybody dared to come after him, the hunters will be the ones that will get hunted. For the love of God, there was no way of finding the Rokubi, so the Sannin decided to go to Takigakure and see if the Nanabai's Seven-Tails host had the brains to see that this was for their own good. Sadly, this Jinchuriki was a patriot with a stick-up-his-ass for rules. He absolutely had to follow the rules to the T when it came to being a shinobi, so he had declined the Toad Hermit's offer. So after the alliance was made between the three Jinchurikis Naruto, Gaara, and Yujito, Jiraiya realized just how far behind Naruto was in controlling his bijou in comparison to most of the other Jinchurikis. Many of the Jinchurikis could fully control their bijous, with Killer Bee being the most advanced among all the others. Therefore, Jiraiya decided to train Naruto in using the Fox Chakra. For the next 5 years, Naruto didn't only train with the sages for normal shinobi techniques and jutsus, he also started working on missions that Jiraiya, or his spy network, assigned Naruto. He also started to train with the Fox's Chakra and its uses mostly under the Toad Hermit and sometimes under Pa Fukasaku. I wish I could have, but the Rokubi is as elusive as ever. Gaara was now looking at some kind of chart with many different colored lines and places with markings and arrows. Damn, he is good. What are you looking at? This is the demographic chart of the Rokubi that Suna has made of his travels in the last 7 years since he set out from his village. I have studied this map for a long time, but I can find no definitive pattern to his movements, and therefore I cannot predict where he might be in the future so that we can talk to him and make him realize the gravity of the situation that the Akatsuki has presented against him and others like him," replied Gaara as his eyebrows rose as he noticed something. The chart does show that he does not go more than a certain radius in any direction from one point, the cliffs just south of Kiri. I think he is overlooking the protection of his village away from the villagers and their constant badgering. "Yeah," said Naruto as a sad look came over his face when he remembered how Gaara was treated when he was younger by the same people who now bow to him in respect. "I guess I am lucky in a way that none of the people in my village knows that I am a Jinchuriki. I don't know if I am strong enough to endure that kind of treatment and not lash out against the villagers." A small smile tugged at Gaara's smile and a mischievous gleam came to his eyes. "I am sure you would have killed a few villagers just to keep them from bothering you again," said Gaara with an air of nonchalance that infuriated the blonde to no end. "Why you? I will get you for that," shouted Naruto as he jumped out of his bed ready to strangle the smiling Gaara instantly. Alas, that was not to happen, as just then the door to their room was flung open and in ran Temari as she took a good look at Gaara before scooping him in a motherly hug. Naruto stopped bawling immediately. He had learned long ago not to interfere with Temari when she was in an emotional state of mind or someone was going to get a big war fan broken on top of their head. Not a pleasant feeling in the least. Gaara tapped Temari's shoulder, letting her know that he needed to breath, and she let him go before kissing him on his bandaged the forehead. "Gaara, how many times do I have to tell you that you have to use your ninjas when fighting? You know you are not responsible for each and every villager's life when there is a conflict going on," sighed Temari as she sat down next to Gaara and looked at their feet. "I know, but this time they were here for me, so it was only logical that they fight me," countered Gaara with his ever-present monotone. Temari shook her head in denial, but a small smile crept in her to her lips. "You and your sentiments. Sometimes I wonder why I let you hang out with Uzumaki in the first place," she said as both siblings started smiling. Naruto also smiled. He had gotten used to the creepy humor that the siblings sometimes shared, and mostly in privacy because it unnerved any stranger, and quite frankly Gaara's smile even freaked Baki, their genin instructor and now their trusted advisor, out sometimes. "Hey, do you know when they are going to let us out? I am sure our wounds have already healed?" asked Naruto to Temari, and her lips twisted in contemplation. "Don't know, your teammate is in charge of your treatment, so you ask her when she gets here," said Temari. She looked at the clock mounted on their room and sighed. "I have to go for a meeting with the elders, so I will see you guys later." Temari got up, as did Naruto and Gaara. Temari stepped closer to Naruto and grabbed his shoulders. "Thank you, Naruto. We owe you again," she said sincerely and kissed him on the cheek. Bam! Naruto and Temari jumped apart. Somebody had closed the door to their room quite forcefully for some reason. When Naruto looked at Gaara with a questioning look, he shrugged. Temari shook her head. Whenever Naruto was in town, nothing normality seemed to disappear in fear. "See you later," she said and walked off the room. As soon as Temari left, their door opened again and a very red-faced Sakura came in carrying a tray of what appeared to be dressing. "Sakura, how are you doing?" asked Naruto with a cheerful smile. "Fine," she answered angrily and pointedly turned away from him to check on Gaara's bandages. Naruto was confused. What happened to Sakura? Why was she so angry at him, or was it that she was angry at something else? "So how is everything going? You know I want to get out of the hospital," said Naruto, trying to make conversation so that he could figure out what had the pink-haired Kunoichi so riled up. "You two will be discharged from here today evening. I think I forgot to bring something. I will send in another nurse to do the dressing," the Kunoichi said before hurrying out of the room. Wonder what has got on her nerves today?" Though Naruto until his thoughts were interrupted by the light chuckling coming from across the room. "What?" asked Naruto when he saw the Kazekage giving him a furtive look. "It seems the medic Nin from Konoha has taken a liking to you, Uzumaki," said Gaara before resuming his chuckling. "How can you tell?" asked Naruto, quite bewildered. The last thing he needed was girl advice from Gaara. No, even from a young age the redhead was a perceptive person. Maybe he could tell what was going on inside a person's head by their actions and expressions. "Well, my first hint was the way she was distraught after your supposed death in the cavern, and then how she started to behave with you after she saw Temari kissing you. She thinks that there is something going on between you and my sister," said Gaara, and there was no deception or trickery involved in his voice. He was completely serious in his judgment. "Oh great," huffed Naruto. "Now the girl I like thinks that I like someone else. It's over even before I could tell her how I feel about her." "So you like her too? Now that is unexpected," said Gaara in a delightful tone, or as delightful as his monotonic voice could get. Naruto blushed a little, realizing that he had just spilt beans about his feelings for Sakura. At least it was not to a total stranger. It was in front of one of his closest and best friends. "So what do I do now? How do I clear this mess up without letting her know how I feel about her?" asked Naruto. If Gaara knew already, might as well talk to him rather than wallow in his own misery, or worse, mess it up by thinking up something stupid. "Why not just tell her how you feel? That way you can clear away the misunderstanding and get the girl you like," said Gaara, looking a little confused as to why his friend would want to hide his feelings. "Look, Gaara, I can understand why you are thinking that way. You are the youngest Kazekage this village has, plus the people here respect you and worship the ground you walk on. No doubt you are also quite popular with the ladies due to your reputation and the legendary greatness of your power. On the other hand, there is my situation. Neither am I a Kage nor am I popular in the village of Konoha. In other words, there is nothing to go by when I am asking out a girl. Plus my year's teens are half clan heirs and half of them are extraordinary due to their specialty in one shinobi field or another. It will take me years to build a reputation for myself, and a girl like Sakura is not just going to sit by. I bet there are guys who already want to marry her. Therefore, I just want to be a good friend so that if I do find the courage to ask her out or something, it wouldn't be awkward or embarrassing for her. Get it?" Naruto was so engrossed in his moment that he hadn't even realized that there was Nurse standing by the door of their room. He had his whole story, and he had just made a fool of himself in front of a total stranger. Oh, why did this always happen to him? Kami had a personal vendetta to settle with Naruto Uzumaki. Ahem ahem. The nurse cleared her throat in the most cliched manner ever, before walking farther inside the room. I am here to check up on and change the dressing for Kazekage-sama. She gave a full-on sweeping bow to Gaara and Uzumaki-san. Her sentence ended in a question, and she looked a little uncertainly towards Naruto. So the blonde-haired Jinchuriki nodded, saying that he was the other said person. She expertly changed the dressing on Naruto and Gaara's wounds, but frowned as only minor scratches, and in some cases little scars remained. In Naruto's case, it seemed Gaara's wounds were healing at a normal rate, as his wounds were in almost the exact same state as they were the previous couple of days. After she was done, she looked satisfactorily at her work, nodded to Gaara, and walked off with the tray that Sakura had brought in. "Hey Gaara, how come your wounds have not healed already?" asked Naruto, a little concerned for his friend's health. "I believe you already know the answer to that question, Uzumaki," replied Gaara. But when the blank look on Naruto's face remained, he sighed and continued. "I have not been able to communicate with the Shikaku, and last night I think I slept after a long time with no dreams or disturbance. So the only conclusion is that the Akatsuki were able to extract the Shikaku from me, and even though I retained my abilities of the sand armor and my control over sand, the accelerated healing abilities that comes with the Bijuu's chakra is gone. I can also feel the lightness of my chakra. It is not as dense as it used to be when the Shikaku's chakra was constantly there along with my own." Clarity dawned in the eyes of the Toad Hermit's apprentice as his mouth formed a little "So how do you feel with the Bijuu gone?" asked Naruto. He had wondered a lot how his life would have been different if the fourth Hokage had not sealed the Kyuubi into him. What it would have been like to grow up in Konoha with the others. What kind of relations he would have formed with the people he grew up with. Gaara himself understood his friend's dilemma quite well. He himself had wondered more than few times what his life would have been like without the Shikaku. So he tried to be as indifferent as he could be without outright lying to his oldest friend. "It feels lighter, as if a big responsibility was taken away from me, a responsibility that people like us knows all too well. But there is also a hollow feeling like something is missing from us, something that was a big part of us, that is just not there anymore." Before Gaara could go any farther, Naruto held his hand up. All right, I get the picture, but now that you are not a Jinchuriki, what about the alliance? What about the things that we vowed to do together once we were strong enough to take on the Akatsuki ourselves? You know, before what happened to you, it was just me and you. Yujito was killed. Now, I am alone against the Akatsuki," said the blonde teen, much to the red-headed ex-Jinchuriki's dismay. "Naruto, you are not alone in your fight against the Akatsuki. I am still there with you, even though I am a Jinchuriki no more. But do not forget, I am still the Kazekage of Suna, and my position grants me power over all the forces of Suna. If Konoha will have it, I would like to make an alliance between our villages, not just the friendly trade business but an actual alliance between the two shinobi nations and their forces." The young Kazekage reprimanded his friend for thinking that Gaara had abandoned him just because the Shikaku was inside him no more. "How can you decide?" "No, wait, how can I decide for the village of Konoha? You have to meet with the Hokage to finalize the deals, the treaties, the conditions, and all that kind of stuff. I just can't do that for the whole village hidden in the leaves," shouted Naruto. He was bewildered at Gaara's childish thinking that he alone could do everything needed to form an alliance between two shinobi nations. Gaara looked towards the window to the rest of Suna. "Uzumaki, do you really believe that I am as stupid as to suggest that you alone seal an alliance between two shinobi nations? I am just offering the option to the village of Konohagakure. Tomorrow before your departure, collect the necessary papers, and when you reach Konoha, hand them over to your Hokage. We will request the answer the next time our ambassador visits, or your Hokage could send their ambassador here to inform us of the decision that Konoha finally makes. Understand?" Gaara looked away from the window only to see his blonde friend already asleep. One day later, the three shinobis from Konoha was standing at the entrance of Suna along with their escort party that considered the Kazekage, his siblings, their trusted advisor Baki, and various Suna citizens and residents. "Well, Kazekage-sama, it was a pleasure that we were able to enjoy your hospitality for so long. But now it is time for us to return since the task we were here for is finished," said Kazekage, bowing respectfully to Gaara. The young Kazekage nodded at this, and Temari came forward and handed him the documents that Gaara had mentioned to the sleeping Naruto a day earlier. After discussing the same things with Kakashi, who had promptly agreed to carry out the task, Gaara was comfortable enough handing the confidential papers to Team 7. If not for the whole team, Gaara completely trusted his friend in being able to protect such crucial information from unwanted hands, and Kakashi's fame and previous accomplishments more than compensated for any weakness he might have displayed in the mission. Sakura also said her farewell and hugged Temari before stepping back as Naruto stepped forward. At first he clapped Kankuro in the shoulders and nodded at him before moving to Temari and giving her a quick hug, and then finally stepped in front of Gaara. "You know, I have half the mind of dragging you with me back to Konoha, but I guess these guys wouldn't stand much chance without their Kazekage," Naruto said as he smirked at the horrified expressions that formed on the faces of the people of Suna. "Well, I wish to do the same, but I have a village to protect, and you are quite right, maybe they wouldn't stand much chance without me," said Gaara, quietly enjoying the many whisperings that broke out among the people of his village. "Well, I don't know whether this alliance that you want to form will happen or not, but the alliance we formed will never break, right?" asked Naruto as he extended his hand towards Gaara. The young Kazekage took and shook it. "Never," he said, almost symbolizing the long-standing pact that the two nations will form in the coming days. The difference in power. Kakashi was walking towards training grounds after staring at the stone where the names of his dead comrades were inscribed for exactly 1 hour and 36 minutes. He was asked by the Godame Hokage to see how much more potential Naruto had for improvement and how much stronger he could get given the right tutelage. It had been 3 days since they had returned to Konoha from their rescue mission. The return trip was quite uneventful until they entered the office of their drunken buxom Hokage. 2 days ago. "Kakashi-sensei, why do we have to talk to Bachan now? It's really late in the evening and she is probably drunk. She will be really pissed if we bothered her. And I am not in the mood for going through walls right now," replied the blonde Jinchuriki in a disgruntled voice. Kakashi nodded sagely but replied with a firm voice. "Naruto, we have to turn in the report immediately. This is a mission of the highest class, and as such takes time to process, and you do want your payment as soon as possible, don't you? Secondly, we have alliance papers. An actual shinobi alliance between Suna and Konoha. Can you imagine how important these documents are? These have to reach the Hokage's eyes with utmost haste. Therefore, we have to talk to her no matter what." Kakashi's reply did not sit well with Naruto as he sped up with the last leg of their journey, so that they could get to Konoha a little faster, followed by Kakashi and Sakura. Konoha's gates were closed as night had fallen and Naruto stood in front of it, unsure whether to jump in over the wall or was there a side entrance into the village for residents and Konoha shinobis. Naruto had been to a lot of shinobi villages and many of them did not take it lightly if their rules were broken, even if the lawbreakers were their own. Kakashi finally landed behind the blonde shinobi and walked up to the gate and knocked 3 times. A small window in the gate opened and a masked man looked closely at them before asking, "State your name and purpose." "Open the gate already, we have an S-rank mission submission of most urgency," said Kakashi in a bored tone as the masked ninja quickly recognized the fabled Kakashi Hatake due to his signature mask and the gravity-defying silver hair. He gave a short salute before opening a small door that was built inside the huge wall that surrounded Konoha from the main entrance gates. It didn't take long before Naruto was inside the Hokage's office. It looked like he had taken a liking to the way his master always entered the Godame's office. In came Naruto through the window, scaring the blonde Hokage so much that she spilled her sake on her recently completed paperwork after much convincing from Shizune. "Damn it, Gaki, do you realize what you just did?" shouted Tsunade at the top of her lungs. She did not need to redo several hours of paperwork again just because one of her ninjas startled her. "Your sake, your spill, your problem. Don't blame me," Naruto replied quite nonchalantly, getting on Tsunade's nerves even more. "Plus, you can just have one of your clones do it again. Now that you know what is on the paperwork, so do your clones. They will know where you needed to sign and stuff, so what is the big deal?" Naruto didn't realize that he had just given Tsunade the perfect way to solve all her paperwork problem, which also simultaneously saved his life as the Hokage cooled down a bit, realizing what Naruto had just suggested. The doors to her office opened and Kakashi and Sakura came in. They were already sweating profusely because they had heard the Godame Hokage shout and did not want to face the overpowered woman when she was pissed off. Kakashi had first-hand experience of Sakura's strength and he knew that Tsunade's was greater still. Whereas Sakura knew how much Tsunade's punches hurt, especially when she was mad. None of them wanted to go through that when they were tired and returning from a mission that was quite difficult, and the return trip was very exhausting. Kakashi hesitantly stepped forward and started talking in a very meek and humble voice. Hokage-sama, the mission was a complete success. In fact, the Kazekage was so pleased with our performance that he has asked for a complete shinobi alliance between Konoha and Suna. Here are the documents for the alliance with the Kazekage's personal seal on it, and here is the already completed mission report. Everything is in full details so that you can assess our performance accordingly. Kakashi put an emphasis on the word performance, and Tsunade got the message that he had done his part in observing and mentioning where he thought Naruto stood skill-wise and how well he worked as a team. Tsunade's eyes grew wide at the copy ninja's words. She had been trying to do exactly that for nearly 2 years now, but had been unsuccessful, and it hadn't even been 2 weeks since Naruto's return. And it was Suna asking for the alliance. She snatched the documents off his hand before he decided to throw it on the wet desk and quickly scanned it, confirming Kakashi's words that these were indeed the government papers required to start a shinobi alliance between 2 villages. Bachan, can we go now? It is a beautiful evening and I still haven't had an actual tour of the village. Don't you think it's about time I got acquainted with the place where I will spend the rest of my life? Whined Naruto in the most annoying voice he could make. It definitely had an effect because the response was immediate. Yes, fine, get lost. Sakura, please show Naruto around the village and don't allow him to do something that will get him in prison or in trouble with the clans. You two are dismissed. Hataki, you and I have to talk. Sakura, send Shizunin on your way out, will ya? She heard a faint hi as the doors to her office closed behind her. A few moments later, Shizun came in. Her expression said she knew what she needed to do, as she set Taunton down on the floor and pulled out a notepad and a pen. All right, Kakashi, how did he handle himself? Shizun, write everything down and put it under his file. This is the first mission report we are getting on him, ordered Tsunade as she pulled out the bottle and poured herself another cup, making sure that the window was closed securely. Kakashi thought for a moment before sighing loudly. Hokage-sama, this might not come as a surprise to you, but Naruto is a ninja of exceptional potential, even without the Kyuubi. I do not know whether it comes because he is an offspring of 2 very strong bloodlines or because he is a genius of such caliber that Konoha has not witnessed before. I have to say that whatever he lacks in experience, makes up with sheer skill and raw strength. In fact, I saw him use ninjutsu and fuinjutsu that I have never seen before. If I was any less educated in the art of sealing, I might have thought it was something else entirely, because I have never seen sealing used in such a destructive manner before. I don't know if even Jiraiya-sama is capable of something like that. Kakashi's reply again put Tsunade to a turmoil as to where Naruto stood as far as his career as a shinobi was concerned. At times he looked no different than a normal teenager, but at times his power was just too overwhelming to even think about. This was going to be a bigger hassle than she thought. What about teamwork, Kakashi? Is he a team player or a solo powerhouse? Asked Tsunade, hoping that after hearing the answer to this question, she could give him an appropriate rank. Well, Hokage-sama, it seems he understands the concept of teamwork but does not follow it. He had already deduced how we could effectively use each member in taking down the Akatsuki members that we were to face during this mission, but he did not follow through with it. He lost control of his emotions when he realized that Gaara might not be alive and rushed ahead, completely disregarding any strategy or plan. He lost his cool, commented the copy nin. His assessment of Naruto was that he needed a little training in controlling his emotions and learning how to work in a team, and he could become a very formidable foe to any enemy of Konoha. So do you think that he should advance to Jounin, or stay as a Tokubetsu for now? Asked Tsunade, not really knowing where to place him. I believe we should keep him where he is right now. I also suggest that he receive Black Ops training. His skill in espionage is already very high, and with proper training I believe he can become someone like me or even Itachi Uchiha, replied Kakashi in a thoughtful voice. Yes, Naruto was not a cooperative ninja, but with his potential it was not necessary that he has to be in a team. He can do a great deal alone. Any ninja with high potential went through ANBU training before achieving the rank of Jounin. He himself did, along with many of the other Jounins in Konoha right now. Said Tsunade as she placed her hand on her chin and thought about what the White Fang's legacy had just suggested. Well, there is no way I am sending Naruto to Danzo for his training and Jiraiya is not here. Why don't you take over Naruto's Black POS training? After all, you were trained by his father, it should not take you long to understand what his strengths are and how to improve on his weaknesses, right? Asked the Godame Hokage. For now it was the perfect solution, plus he was a part of Team 7 now. If anybody had the first call at teaching Naruto, it was Kakashi. Hokage-sama, can I reply to your question tomorrow? In all seriousness, I know very little about him, and if I am to train him, it will take me a little time to understand how he works, and if I am the right person for him. Kakashi replied to the Hokage in a serious tone. Okay, return tomorrow evening and we will discuss what to do with Naruto then. For now you are dismissed, said the Hokage as she poured herself another cup of sake. With Naruto and Sakura, 2 days ago. As Naruto followed Sakura out of the Hokage's office, Shizen hurried past them to see why Tsunade had asked for her. So Sakura, would you care to show me around town? I don't think I have yet been to the markets on the western side of town, and I haven't even gotten a good look at the village itself. Naruto exclaimed the last part out as he realized himself just how little of Konoha he had actually seen. Of course, Naruto. By the way, don't you want to eat dinner first? Asked Sakura. She was really hungry after the long trip back from Suna, and was quite tired of eating the dry food that they always got while on the road for a mission. Since the time she had seen Naruto with Temari, she had been thinking about her reaction to the whole thing. She had been unnaturally upset after finding out that Naruto and Temari shared a relationship that went well beyond friendship, if what she had seen was anything to go by. But when she questioned herself as to why she was so disturbed, she couldn't answer that question to herself. Finally, she came to the realization that it wasn't Naruto to blame if he liked Temari. After all, they knew each other better than Naruto knew the Kunoichis from Konoha. She had thrown her anger and awkwardness away and had been acting normal and friendly with Naruto again, hoping that her odd feelings would go away with time and they would hopefully become good friends and teammates. Sai wasn't exactly what most people would call normal. Maybe Naruto could fulfill what Team 7 had been missing the whole time. That's a good idea, Sakura, chirped Naruto. Now that he thought about it, he was quite hungry. Well then follow me. I know just the place where you might get a good but quick dinner, said Sakura as she skipped down the stairs and took to the rooftops, seeing if she could outspeed the blonde ninja. It was a vain effort. Naruto, it seemed, caught up to her with ease and had no difficulty keeping with her. Well, he was a jounin for a reason. They came to stop in front of a small ramen shop that read, Ichiraku Ramen. We used to come here a lot, you know, whenever Kakashi-sensei decided to give us a treat, he would bring us here. I love this place, not because of the food, but because of the good times and memories that I have with this place, said Sakura with a faraway look on her face, remembering the times when she came here with Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke-kun, and Sai. Well, I think it's perfect. After all, ramen is my favorite food, said Naruto, striding in with a huge smile on his face. He immediately took a seat in one of the counter seats, and Sakura slid into the one next to his. Sakura spied that Shino Aburame was sitting at the far corner seat of the counter and beckoned him over. Not many people knew it, but Sakura used to like Shino as a classmate back at the academy. He was one of the people who did not make fun of her forehead, and he was one of the few men who always showed proper respect to everyone. Seeing as he had nothing much better to do in his current position, he slid into the seat on the other side of Naruto. His Kikai bugs had said that the blonde was more powerful than all the Rookie 9, and he was intrigued as to what type of jutsus and skills this blonde boy possessed that made him such a strong shinobi. He didn't know if the Uzumaki had any Kekkei Genkai, but since they were not a clan, he was quite sure that this boy did not have one. Hello, Naruto Uzumaki, Haruno-san. Good evening, greeted Shino. Many would mistake his husky monotonous voice as boredom, but if they knew the Aburame, they all sounded like they were bored, like the Nara clan. But while the Nara clan is actually bored, the Aburame clan had a tendency to hide all emotion behind an expressionless facade. Hey, what's up? You are Shino from the Aburame clan, right? When Shino confirmed it by nodding slightly, Naruto continued. What kind of bugs do you use? You guys have special breeds, right? You are absolutely right, Uzumaki. We indeed have special breeds that can work based on our somatotypes and immune systems. The breed I use is known as the Kikaichu, specializing in data gathering and chakra draining. Useful in both combat and infiltration, due to this ability, I was one of the ninjas that made it out of the ANBU training with the highest scores, only seconded beside of Team 7 I believe, replied the Aburame as Tucci placed a steaming bowl of ramen in front of Shino. He swiftly pulled out a notebook from one of the pockets in his apron and pencil. Miss Haruno, it has been a while since you have come by. What can I get for you today? He asked in a mild and friendly tone as they both smiled at each other. Why, Tucci-san, I will take the usual ramen with beans and chicken. No tomatoes, please, said Sakura in a tone that said she had ordered the same dish lots of time before. Tucci noted her order down quickly before turning to Naruto. And what would you like, sir? Have we by chance met before? I think I have seen you somewhere, wondered Tucci, trying to remember why the teen in front of him looked so familiar. Naruto looked up from the menu. He had been quickly scanning it while Tucci was taking his Sakura's orders. I don't think we have met before, Tucci-san. I will take an extra large bowl of miso ramen, with extra beef please, said Naruto. He loved miso ramen, even though Jiraiya constantly complained about how bad Mashima's cooking was. Naruto never had a problem with her cooking until he realized just how good humans were at cooking. He never complained though, it was really kind that Mashima always thought of him and tried to make food that were edible by humans. Tucci nodded, noted down his order and hurried back inside the kitchen. Wow, even though this place is small, it must be popular, thought Naruto out loud. Almost every table and chair was taken, and there was a small line forming outside, as people were ready to wait outside for Ichiraka's ramen. Yeah, 3 years ago there was nothing here but a stall that said Ichiraka Ramen. But people loved his ramen and soon his stall became extremely famous. Now look at it. It is a bustling restaurant, said Sakura. She giggled at the expression Naruto had on. It was a mix between incredulous and unbelievable. It is hard to believe, but I guess my master's words were not wrong. There is nothing that can't be achieved with hard work, said Naruto with a smile. Uzumaki-san, you have trained under Jiraiya-sama for your whole life. What are some of the things that you learned during your training? Shino's blatant question made Naruto raise an eyebrow. Asking a ninja what jutsus he learned was like asking a magician to reveal the means behind his tricks. Well, Jiraiya-sama only taught me the basics of any form of jutsu. I was mostly trained by the sages of Mount Myaboku. The only things Jiraiya taught me are the tactical things, like strategies and coordination. He didn't teach me every jutsu I know or every kata I learned. Jutsu-wise, he only taught me 2 jutsus, said Naruto as he looked at Shino, who had a big question mark for an expression. What were these 2 jutsus that you speak of? Asked Shino finally when he saw no answer forthcoming from his blonde, and now uncomfortable, colleague. Well, one of them is called the Raisin Shuriken, and the other is, well, everything I know about Fuinjutsu, I learned from him, said Naruto, and Shino raised an eyebrow quite comically. A very attractive young woman in an apron came and put a receipt in front of Shino, and smiled at Sakura before disappearing into the kitchen again. While Shino was pulling out his wallet, Naruto nudged Sakura's arm. Who was that? Asked Naruto as she saw Sakura's questioning expression turn onto a smirking one. Why, that was Ayam, Tucci-san's only daughter and the village's heartthrob, said Sakura with a grin that reached from ear to ear. Shino put the appropriate amount of money down, before nodding to Naruto and leaving. A very red Naruto nodded back. He did not mean to ask because he thought she was cute, he just asked because, well, she was really cute. I think she is only a couple years older than us, continued Sakura, much to her delight at seeing her blonde teammate's uncomfortable situation. Ayam came in carrying both Naruto's and Sakura's orders, and placed it in front of them. Well, Sakura, care to introduce your new friend to me? Asked Ayam with a sly grin on her face. Oh, Ayam, I was just telling Naruto here about you, chirped Sakura as she picked up her chopsticks. Sakura stood up and put her mouth near Ayam's left ear. Don't bother trying to flirt with him. He is already booked, whispered Sakura. Ayam did the same and whispered back. Well, duh. Have you looked at him? He is like the most irresistible guy I have seen in my life, she whispered back, and they both started giggling silently. Naruto just stared at them, but waited patiently. It was considered rude to start eating before your companion, especially a female companion. if you have come to have a meal with her. Sakura sat back down, and then motioned towards the food so they could start eating. It didn't take Naruto more than a minute to finish his extra-large bowl before he ordered for another one. Sakura was quite surprised by the young man's appetite. He had 6 extra-large bowls of miso ramen, and he was still thinking about whether to have dessert or not. Now that she thought about it, he was a really big man physically. He was well over 6 feet tall, and had a very heavy-set and muscular build. Ino really lacked common sense. She actually challenged Naruto to a duel. What was she thinking? Sakura, I have noticed since coming to Konoha that you are quite popular, and one of the best combat medics. What does that mean? Asked Naruto, making Sakura blush a little at the compliment. Well, a combat medic is just what it sounds to be. A medic who can be put out on the field because she knows how to fight, replied Sakura, and Naruto's eyes grew wide. Wow, that means you are twice as useful as any other ninja on the field. That is very impressive. No wonder everyone seems to like you so much, said Naruto again, and this time Sakura was suspecting that he wanted to more than just compliment her. What are you exactly trying to ask, Naruto? She had caught him. He was trying to know more about her, specifically her love life. Oh, nothing. I just want to know more about my teammate. After all, we are going to be working on missions and stuff together. I just want to know what kind of person you are. He replied too fast for her to believe he was being completely truthful. Well, I am not exactly popular, said Sakura, making the quotation marks with her fingers when she said, popular. But I have been here for a long time, and I practically grew up with the Rookie 9, so we all know each other very well. If I have to say, Ino is probably the most popular girl among us. Shinobis and civilians alike are dying to date her, but look at her. She goes for the weirdest ninja in the whole Rookie 9 Sai, said the pink-haired Kunoichi in a voice that said she totally did not understand the blonde girl at all. And what about you? Who are you dating? Asked Naruto, hoping that the answer would be no one. Sakura stiffened a little at that question. She had not dated anyone in her life, to be told the truth, and just when Sasuke was starting to warm up to her, the whole thing in the Chunin exams happened, and then he fought his brother and got horribly injured, pushed him to get away from Konoha. She slowly lowered her chopsticks back to the bowl and looked down. No one, she said in a very meek voice. Really? Said Naruto. It came out a lot more enthusiastic than he had intended it to be. It brought Sakura out of her musings. The way Naruto answered sounded like he was pleased with her answer. Deciding to find out what was truly his motive, she tried to test him a little. Naruto, are you trying to ask me out? I can't believe you would actually do that with the whole thing going on between you and Temari, she said in a very annoyed voice. What? What are you talking about? There is nothing going on between me and… You saw her kissing me in the hospital, haven't you? Asked Naruto in a lot quieter voice, as he realized why Sakura was acting all weird that day in the hospital. When Sakura nodded, he started to smile. It could mean that maybe, just maybe, she had taken a liking to him. When Sakura looked up, she was surprised to see Naruto smiling. What's so funny? She asked, starting to get annoyed again. Well, the massive misunderstanding is just ridiculous. Yes, it is true that I love Temari, but not like that, more like an older sister. I have hung out with Gaara a lot when we were younger and became almost like family. Temari was like an older sister to both of us, trying to keep us out of trouble when we pulled pranks together on the Kazekage. She used to always give out false indications that led the trail to someone else, mostly Kankuro. Back then he used to be so clueless that we made jokes about what kind of shinobi he would turn out to be. Here, I will let you in on a secret about her. From what I know about her, she is in head over heels for that Nara guy I fought, said Naruto in a hushed voice. Sakura nodded slowly. Everybody in Konoha knew that Temari and Shikamaru was an item. So there is nothing going on between you and her, Sakura stated, more than asked to herself. Nope, nothing at all, confirmed Naruto back to his usual energetic self, and Sakura felt a sensation of relief spread through her oddly enough. So Sakura, since I had a really nice dinner, why not just have dessert to complete it? What would you like to have? He asked her as he indicated the dessert section in the menu with his index finger. I think I will have the medium-sized strawberry and chocolate milkshake, said Sakura, and I noted it down. She was ready to take their order. "I want to try out the multi-flavored sundae, okay?" said Naruto, and Ayam nodded as she also noted his order down and disappeared behind the kitchen doors again. "So Naruto, where do you want to go after dinner?" "I was thinking maybe the West Side Park," asked Sakura. Konoha was a big place with lots of attractions that they could go to. "Nah, I was thinking about going on top of the Hokage mountain. You know there is a full moon today. I don't know why, but I like watching the full moon," said Naruto as he looked at the Hokage mountain. A guy who appreciates nature? That's a first for me," thought Sakura. But hey, everybody had their own tastes, right? And it is really sweet that he wants to preserve the land he lives on. "Sure, Naruto, I wouldn't mind just relaxing for some time either. Tomorrow is going to be a long day of training for both of us, and Tsunade-sama is worse than a slave driver," said Sakura, and they both burst out laughing. Ayam came back with their dessert and placed it in front of them. "Enjoy! Your bill will be here shortly. Do you want separate bills?" asked Ayam. She knew that Sakura always paid for her own food, no matter what guy she came to eat a meal with, unless of course it was her father. Sakura was about to reply, but Naruto beat her to the chase. "Absolutely not. One bill only, thank you," said Naruto in a firm voice. "No argument will be tolerated." Ayam did not try to fight either. It was about time Sakura got an actual date. "Hi," she replied and disappeared before Sakura had a chance to argue about it. "Naruto, you really don't have to," said Sakura. "Of course I do. This is my treat to you for being such a good friend and teammate to me. You know, I never really had friends growing up, but being here with you makes me feel accepted, like I truly belong. So please don't stop me," said Naruto. This time his voice was much more serious and there was a little sadness in his features. "Well, I can totally accept that," said Sakura in a very cheerful voice, trying to dispel the somber mood that had come up suddenly at Naruto's revelation about his own life. "Yup," said Naruto as he scooped a huge spoonful of ice cream in his mouth. Sakura also smiled and started sipping on her strawberry chocolate shake. As usual, the dessert was just as good as the ramen, and both companions were content with the choice of their restaurant. Tucci came carrying the bill and a couple of fortune cookies, and handed one to each of them before placing the bill on the counter in front of them. Sakura's eyes grew big at the amount written on it, as did Naruto's. She had always considered this place cheap, but then again she had never seen anyone eat 6 extra-large bowls in one sitting either. "Wow, this place is way cheaper than I expected. Wow, really nice choice, Sakura," exclaimed Naruto happily, much to Sakura's disbelief. "Usually I have to pay nearly twice that amount in a regular restaurant for the same quality and quantity of food. This place is great," he exclaimed as he pulled out his wallet, which was oddly shaped like a toad, and put the money down with a generous tip. They started walking towards the Hokage monument, silently, as Kakashi decided that it was about time that they got some privacy. Enough watching his new blonde student for one day, decided the silver-haired Jounin. End of flashback. Kakashi landed in front of the training ground. He had gotten used to having a silent training ground because he never got to train a team again. He usually trained either Sai or Sakura whenever they got time off. Sakura mostly worked as a medic and was supervising at the hospital, and Sai was well on his way to becoming an ANBU squad leader. He has also been able to impress Danzo, the much-hated leader of the Root Division of the prestigious Black Operational System. But today was a different story. He could hear the ruckus going on in the training grounds from almost 3 miles away, and when he got there, he almost wet his pants at the sight before him. There were more than 200 Narutos, divided into groups of 25, and each group was doing a different activity. One group was running laps around the large training fields, one group was walking up and down the trees using only their feet or hands, one group was meditating, one group was fighting only using taijutsu, one group was practicing with various types of weapons, one group was focusing completely on wind-based jutsus, and another was focusing on water-based jutsus. My god, what stamina, and this is an impressive amount of chakra pool to even pull off this many clones in the first place, Kakashi thought as he started to move again towards the many Narutos doing oh so many things at the same time. As Naruto noticed Kakashi walking towards them, he held up his hand and all the clones stopped doing what they were. "All right, I think that is enough warm-up," muttered Naruto as a huge white cloud covered the training field. When the cloud dissipated, only one Naruto was standing facing Kakashi. "You are late again. I don't even want to hear your lame excuse," Why did you want to meet anyway? Asked Naruto in a little annoyed voice. Well, you tell me. I was just thinking that maybe I will get to know you, hang around with you, but judging by the way you have dressed, it shows that you intend to do some serious training, said Kakashi, studying Naruto's body posture. He was standing straight. His well-defined arms were folded over his chest. His orange muscle shirt had the symbol of Konoha on the front. He wore dark camouflage pants that were tucked into ninja sandals, and his face wore an expression of defiance. Of course I want to train. You can't have a day off if you are a ninja, and you of all people should know that. Jiraiya-sensei was the sensei of your genin group's teacher. I hope you know that, exclaimed Naruto in a proud voice. Yes, I know that. Well, if you are so intent on training, why don't you train with me? I have trained Sai and Sakura, and I have also trained Sasuke before he left. They have all turned out to be strong ninjas. What do you say? Asked Kakashi in a hopeful voice. Naruto thought for a minute before nodding. So what do you want to do first? He asked as he dropped his arms back to his sides, and his expression changed to an eager one. Well, first I need to test you, replied Kakashi as he lifted his headband. His Sharingan was already spinning and stopped when it had 3 tomes. Naruto groaned visibly. Everyone is only testing me since the time I stepped foot into the village. Why can't you just train me to make me better? He complained in an irritated tone. Well, the Godame Hokage-sama has told me to take over your training from here on, but if I don't know your weaknesses and strengths personally, how will I train you? This is a simple test. Do as I say and you will be fine, assured Kakashi as he pulled out a few shurikens from his pouch. First I will test your skills and weapons. Without warning, he threw his shuriken straight at Naruto. In the blink of an eye, he had a kunai in his hand, and he blocked all the shurikens that would have hit him directly. Good reflexes and keeps weapons within easy reach, Kakashi noted down mentally. All right, now taijutsu. Come at me with the intent to kill. Let's see how good you are in hand-to-hand combat, Kakashi said, and Naruto put the kunai back in his pouch. Both combatants ran towards each other at full speed. Naruto looked directly at Kakashi's hands and chest. He knew Might Guy's famous style of looking at the body and predicting the fighter's moves, and not at the fighter's face. He knew Kakashi would have the advantage because of the Sharingan, but he was going to give everything he had. The blonde ninja saw Kakashi's left hand move backwards. That meant he was going to use a roundhouse kick coming from the right. Naruto blocked the kick with both hands before pushing himself off, using the force as leverage to flip over the Jounin's head and land behind him. Wasting no time, Naruto ran at Kakashi using a complex sequence of kicks and punches while the silver-haired shinobi was still looking the other way. Without the Sharingan, Kakashi was able to predict the first 2 moves, but the type of taijutsu Naruto was using was unfamiliar and he got hit in 3 places before stumbling back to regain even footing with the blonde ninja. Humph! Unusual katas, this is going to be more bothersome than I thought, mumbled Kakashi as he took another stance. This time he saw Naruto taking the lotus stance. Now this move Kakashi knew, it was Rock Lee's signature move, and it was one of the strongest taijutsu moves that Might had in his arsenal. Kakashi had taken extra precaution to counter this move when he himself was training for his own Chunin exam. A small grin split his stoic face behind the mask. Naruto was in for a surprise. Again, both ninjas ran at each other full speed. Naruto intended to use his own version of the lotus, which he had developed after he learned the standard form. Kakashi was expecting Naruto to lift him in the air, so he gave an intentional opening, but instead Naruto kicked him in such a way that he started to fly horizontally, parallel to the ground below them. Then Naruto appeared right behind him, wrapped his arms around Kakashi and started spinning. When they had reached the maximum speed, Naruto arched his body backwards, and Kakashi's head impacted the ground with tremendous force. Naruto let go and flipped out as Kakashi kept going for about a few more feet before coming to a stop. His head was buried into the ground and there was about 7 feet long furrowed ground that was formed because of Kakashi's head. His legs were sticking up facing the sky, and he wasn't moving at all. Oh crap, maybe I overdid it by using the lotus. Crap, I hope he isn't dead, thought Naruto as he ran towards the Jounin's inanimate body, but before he reached it, the body poofed out. The blonde shinobi stopped. It was a clone? he asked to nobody in particular. Of course it was. Did you think I was going to fight you head-on after realizing that you were using katas that I had no idea about? The moment I saw you form that unusual kata before, I made a clone and switched myself out with it. Now I know that was a good move. If I hadn't either, I would have a severely broken neck, or I would be dead. Came the Jounin's voice from behind Naruto. He turned around to see Kakashi's eyes winked as he smiled behind his mask. That was one heck of a move, Naruto, a very nice touch. This way you are ensuring that your enemy is down for the count. I can't wait to show it to Guy. He will be stunned that I improved one of his best techniques. Kakashi's face was like that of a kid's in a candy store that was giving out candy for free. Okay, next up is Genjutsu. How good are you at casting illusions? Well, I can't, he finally answered after hesitating for a few moments. You see, when Jiraiya-sensei tried to teach me to make images using my mind, it just wouldn't work because the fox's chakra is too volatile and kept messing up my illusion because its chakra constantly mixing with mine. Jiraiya-sensei said that the next best thing is to know how to break out of any genjutsu. I can do that by either creating a clone, and if that's not an option, then I straight out attack the opponent by sensing his or her chakra signature. No matter what sense they are trying to mess mine up with, chakra signatures can never lie, said Naruto looking at the ground. He always considered himself weak because his genjutsu, in plain simple words, sucked. Ha ha ha, there is nothing to be ashamed of if you can't cast illusions. In fact, a lot of Jounins in Konoha have very little genjutsu training. We only have a handful genjutsu specialists in the village, and the best in Konoha is a Jounin by the name of Kurenai Yuhi. So you are basically good at recognizing and countering illusions. That's fine too. Let's see if you can break out of mine. Here, look into my eyes, commented Kakashi, but was a little surprised when Naruto was smiling. Come on. I know you have already cast one while I was talking, and you are behind that tree instead of standing in front of me, said Naruto, pointing at the tree a little to the left of the one directly in front of him. All right, you are good at recognizing them, said Kakashi as he stepped out from behind the tree, and the one in front of Naruto melted away into the ground. Now let us see your ninjutsu. What are your affinities? My first elemental affinity is wind, and the second one is water, replied Naruto. He had come to know of his elemental affinities from a very young age, as he had completed the basic ninja training at the age of 6. Jiraiya had given him a piece of paper and told him to channel a little bit of chakra into it, and the paper was cut into 8 pieces. When Naruto turned 10, the Sannin repeated the process, and this time not only were they cut, they were wet as well. Since Naruto had learned of his secondary element, he started practicing and learning jutsus that involved elemental chakra, and since his chakra control was quite good, he had no difficulty in learning the difference between regular chakra, Biju chakra, elemental chakra, and more recently, nature chakra. 2 affinities already. Have you tested your chakra recently to see if you have a third one? Asked Kakashi. No, but I can still pull off a few Kitan jutsus. Don't know why, but I can, even though I have to work really hard to get them down, explained Naruto. He had never really wondered why, but a part of him always thought it was probably because the fox was sealed inside of him. Oh really, which ones? Asked Kakashi. Now his interest was piqued. A third element to boot, and that too at such a young age, unbelievable. I can do the fireball technique, the grand fireball technique, the fire dragon technique, and the fire lava spit technique. Naruto rolled off the names of all the katan techniques that he had learned over after trying harder than ever. Well, none of them are below C rank. I am impressed. What about your other elements? How many jutsus do you know? Asked Kakashi. If fire was his weakest, Kakashi would definitely want to know his strongest. Oh, Futon and Suiton, I know too many to just list off, but I can tell you the strongest ones that I know. For wind, I know the Raisin Shuriken, the Fierce Wind Gale, the Typhoon, the Wind Fan Cyclone, and the 100 Sword Storm. For water, I know the Water Ball Prison, the Wall Defense, the Mirage of Waves, the Water Dragon, and I also learned how to actually create mist using nothing but the water and air particles in the environment around me. Finished Naruto only to see Kakashi with his jaws on the ground. All of those techniques were either A rank or S rank jutsus, and most of them were too chakra consuming to be effectively usable in a real battle. Yet, there were 2 techniques Naruto mentioned that he did not recognize. Naruto, what is this Raisin Shuriken? And mist, how you can just make mist out of nothing? Asked Kakashi, a little baffled at the blonde's revelation. He hadn't heard anybody being able to do that, other than the Naruto Hokage, known legendarily for being the greatest water manipulator in the world. Oh, the Raisin Shuriken is basically mixing wind chakra into the Rasengan to make it even MO. Naruto was cut off when Kakashi literally screamed like a little girl. What? Why you were able to combine nature chakra with the Rasengan? That's impossible. Nobody has done that, not even the Yondaime Hokage was able to do that. Woman, control it a bit there. I know I am the only one who can use that jutsu because I haven't met many people who have wind-based chakra other than me. When I showed it to Temari, she passed out of chakra exhaustion from trying it, so I guess I am the only one capable of doing that jutsu without passing out, said Naruto with an uneasy smile on his face. The silver-haired man was becoming weirder every day. As for the mist thing, when I asked Jiraiya-sensei how I could do that, he just said that I was like the Naruto Hokage, like he was able to create water out of thin air. I am able to create mist, pretty cool, huh? Naruto said the last part more to himself than to Kakashi. Indeed, very impressive control over water manipulation, said Kakashi, as he regained a little of the composure that he had lost after seeing Naruto's extensive arsenal of strong jutsus. So, is there anything you can do with this jutsu, or is it just a jutsu to hinder ninjas like a regular mist? Asked Kakashi. He knew that Naruto wouldn't have named it among his strongest jutsus unless it has more uses than just confusing the enemy. Well, of course, why do you think it is one of my strongest techniques? When a person is in this mist, I can physically attack him to such a degree that I can decimate him in the atomic level, replied Naruto proudly, partially surprising and partially confusing Kakashi as to how that is possible. Care to elaborate? Asked Kakashi as a sweat drop appeared on his head when he noticed Naruto looking at him with a smile on his face, indicating that Kakashi should have figured the rest out already. Oh, well, you see, Jiraiya-sensei said that I can form a mist mainly because I have wind and water jutsu. So inside the mist, I get full control of the particles of the elements that I control, which is wind and water. As you already know, wind is used mainly for cutting and slicing, so when inside the mist, I can use the wind particles inside the mist to attack the person at the atomic level, and there will be nothing left of him by the time I am done. When I first told this concept to Jiraiya-sensei, he sounded skeptical but said that if I could pull it off, it could possibly be one of the strongest jutsu ever created, so I trained with Pa Fukasaku for nearly a whole year before I learned and mastered this jutsu, and surprisingly it takes very little chakra to actually manipulate the wind particles to do the attacking. The most chakra is consumed in maintaining the mist, which is not that much either, so all in all it is a very chakra efficient, yet a devastatingly strong jutsu. Naruto completed his assessment of the full capacity of his own jutsu while Kakashi tried quite hard not to faint. He did not know whether he should be glad that Naruto was on Konoha's side or whether to run away from this terror of a shinobi as quickly as possible. Finally coming to a decision that it would be prudent to not leave this potentially hazardous shinobi without supervision, he then and there decided that he would take Naruto's training upon himself, mainly so that he would be the first one to know to run for his life should Naruto turn against them. Well, Naruto, to wrap up our training, I want you to attack me with ninjutsu, although I will make it clear that no jutsu that can be a one-hit kill or an instant life ender is allowed, and please refrain from using your mist jutsu, just so that I know you will not vaporize me, said Kakashi with an ice smile, as Naruto sweat dropped. Whenever you are ready, Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto in a bored voice. Gyo! Shouted Kakashi, and Naruto was a little surprised when his hands blurred. Then his own hands blurred, but Kakashi had the head start of a couple seconds, and that was all he needed. First of all, a huge water dragon rose and charges straight at Naruto. Then Kakashi's Doton Jutsu turned the ground around his feet to mud, restricting his movement, and he noticed two Kakashis charging straight for him, both preparing to do the Grand Fireball Jutsu. Naruto's mind jumped to overdrive as he quickly thought about all the possible counters to the attacks that Kakashi was unleashing on him. So the water dragon met in a head-on collision with two condensed air bullets. Then the water that had taken the shape of the dragon flowed towards Naruto and formed a dome around him. A dome? Kakashi stopped, a little confused. Naruto just attacked himself with the water ball prison jutsu? Then his grand fireballs met in a thunderous clash, and slowly dissipated with a loud hiss as it met the water ball prison. When the smoke finally cleared, he saw a soaking Naruto standing there, but he did not have even a light singe on his body. Naruto, if I am not mistaken, Did you just attack yourself with the water ball prison jutsu? Course I did, Kakashi-sensei. Since you were attacking me with Katan from both sides and I couldn't move, I figured that water was the beast way out, and the water ball prison was a technique that gave me a 360-degree coverage, so I used it. Plus it is just a restraining jutsu, so while I couldn't attack you, I wasn't going to get hurt either. An even trade, don't you think? Replied Naruto, obviously satisfied with the way he analyzed the situation and decided to get out of it with a unique solution that only he could think of. Brilliant. This kid is a genius, thought Kakashi. A simple solution, but something that no ninja would think of. What ninja would think of attacking himself with a restraining jutsu? No one Kakashi had ever met would even dream of something like that, much less use it successfully in a battle situation. Well, don't think we are done yet, shouted Kakashi before he started rolling through jutsus again, as did Naruto. Their exchange in ninjutsu went on for another hour and a half before it came to a conclusion when Kakashi's Rairiki rested an inch from Naruto's throat, who had his hands raised in a clear sign of surrender. Well, that concludes today's training, I believe, chirped Kakashi as he withdrew his hand and the Chidori vanished. Training? That was no training. I didn't learn anything new. I didn't even get to see something that I haven't seen before, grumbled Naruto, much to Kakashi's chagrin. Very true, Naruto. Well, I am going to report this to Hokage-sama. You have the rest of the evening to yourself. Enjoy! With that, the copy ninja took off towards the Hokage Tower, and the blonde took off towards the Western Market District, no doubt to look for something to eat. Unnoticed by both, another masked ninja also took off, in a different direction than both other ones. The back of his uniform clearly read, ANBU Division Route.